Hey, good afternoon, race fans. We are back today at Box 3 Motorsports for the Hungaroring race, the next stop in Season 3. I want to thank everybody for being here so far. Oh, and I got to fix my settings in-game because I had the racing line on for practicing. We're going to have to switch that up. We're not going to do that. We're not going to watch the racing line the whole game, or the whole race. That would just be crazy. I don't know. Hopefully I can get it turned off. Otherwise, that's just going to be stupid. There we go. Why is it showing it there, but not there? That's just weird. Noob. Yeah, Bubs, says the guy who runs 24/7 racing line. It says hidden. Make sure there's nothing else on here. Okay. It says hidden. Maybe that's just that helicopter view is stuck for this race. I don't know. Try to not to use it too much anyway, so. Welcome in, Louis Ricard. Thank you guys for being here. As I said earlier, we're looking to get started. Now it's doing it everywhere. Hopefully it clears itself. I know what we'll do. We'll just leave and come back. I don't get rid of it. You did beat me. Yeah, no, I beat myself yesterday, Bubs. Let's be fair. You know, just saying. Let's be fair. I beat myself. There we go. Now there's no racing line, but I have to open my software. We will get it going today. I promise you that, folks. We are here for 2 races at the Hungaroring. Race 1, our rookie and AM class race. And then back for, that's a 30-minute, right? We'll be here for 30 minutes where we are right now. And then we will be back for 45 minutes of racing for pro and silver class. And as you can see, it is raining in Hungary today. That's awful. Or maybe it's not. I think it lends for some exciting racing. Let's get jumped over there now and get ready for this free practice session. About 6 minutes left to go in today's AM and rookie class free practice. And honestly, TG, I don't pick the language of the music. I have a few Spotify playlists I use because they are royalty free, and we can have them on Twitch and not get muted audio. So, you know, we can't monetize on YouTube when I upload them at any point because there's a copyright strike, because apparently royalty free on Twitch does not mean royalty free at YouTube. I don't know the difference. I'm just saying we can't, but I don't think it matters in either way. I just want to be able to have some on for the intro there and the outro, to be honest. But as you can see, it has now gone away. We do not need music during the race. And there we see Kevin Silvares with the fastest lap so far, 1:59.6. The Hungaroring, a slightly longer track than what we've seen thus far this season. But a fun track nonetheless. I like Hungaroring. This is one, again, I don't want to say it's one of my favorites. It seems like I, you know, just say it all the time this is one of my favorites. It's not one of my favorites, but it is a track that I enjoy. Versus like a Paul Ricard that I really can't stand. Let's take a look. Right now, Steve Dunn setting that fastest lap during this practice. I don't know what that noise was. With a 1:57.3, Mr. Ploop there in second. As we start filling our grid here for our AM class racing today. Onevado Shalengo is back with us this week. A nice new livery. Very fancy. Kevin Silvares returns. Simon Kuros below is back. Get another very fancy livery. Marcos Manu returns in that Porsche. The Warthog in that very green Paddy's Pub livery returns to us, Mr. Frank Reynolds. Lewis Rickard back again. There we see another new fastest lap as we watch Lewis come across the line, a 1:57.2. A lot of 1:57s up there in the rain. So even with the rain today, possibly some great racing from everyone. Kevin Torrance back on track with us. We already saw Manu and Frank. Mike Jones returns. Kenny O'Connor showing that maybe the rain causes problems. But these guys did have opportunity to practice this week in the rain. So plenty of opportunity there. Obviously, rain times, I don't know. TG's going to correct me to say you can't say how much time you're going to lose. And you know what? He's probably right. You can't say how much time you're going to lose. It depends on how heavy the rain is, what track you're on, all these different factors. But we can say that these laps are probably at least 4 to 7 seconds slower than what we would see in the dry. Got a backer down. Matthew Givens back with us today. The only Audi in Hungary thus far. Bob Charlton. That very fancy BMW. Josh Butler is back in the Repsol Honda. Josh, very consistent driver. He loves his Honda. Nikolai Tibuk sits in the pits. Gonna stay in for today's free practice. So Steve Dunn now back at the top of your list with a 1:56.6. But Lewis Rickard is right now on a flying lap that should push him back up to the top. Oh, and no. Well, he did get it. 1:56.672. 0.02 of a second faster than Steve Dunn. But Josh Butler almost threw that out for him as he sat right before the start finish line. A little mayhem already today in our free practice. And no, I'm not avoiding you, Blue. The last I looked, you were not there. So joining us today from possibly down in the pits, possibly near a lake somewhere. We're not 100% sure. Your boy Blue is back with us this week, unable to race. So how are you,
yes,
sir?
And I'm fantastic. How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
You do
You
sound
sound
okay.
great.
Yep, you do sound okay.
I do sound okay. You were so worried that even though I was reporting here down in what pretty much could be considered a lake, the pit lane, because this race is absolutely flooded.
It is very, very wet.
And I'm with Sia Book on this one. I'm just not even going to try to make an attempt at free practice. The only thing I ask, Mr. Wilson, is if you can share your screen. Seeing how down here in pit lane, I don't have a lot of the on-track action.
Your voice just went crazy, though.
Wow. That sounds like your fault, not mine.
It's possible. It's better now, though, so, you know. But yes, I can do that, sir.
I appreciate it.
There you go. You should be all set. We are all set. Kevin Silvares now, very early was up front, but now pushed back with a 158.8 during this free practice. As it just now comes to an end, we will be looking to get qualification going. So again, today's race, 15-minute qual, 30-minute race for our AM and rookie drivers. Then again, stick around because we have a 20-minute qual and a 45-minute race coming up for our pro and silver class that will follow right afterwards.
And the pro race is not going to have a certain Sith Lord a part of it, so it should actually be anyone's race.
It's going to be anybody's race. I mean, we watched what Brian was able to do last week, right? It was just insane. And Lewis Ricard jumping back up there. You know, basically a last to first with a qualification ban. So I really am going to be curious to see how, number one, I mean, look, let's face it, different track, different drivers. I'm curious to see how many show up. Terrell Seens Taylor now just jumping in to our race today, just in time for qualification.
Yes, it's of course 4th of July weekend for everyone here in good old lower 48.
And let's hold on. So, well, not just the lower 48. I mean, Hawaii and Alaska are also going to celebrate 4th of July, I'm sure.
If they're not attached, so.
Well, they're not, but let's not forget our Canadian brothers and sisters, because Friday, 2 days ago, was Canada Day.
Yep.
Where you celebrate everything Canadian, including beavers, moose, maple syrup, and poutine. Possibly beer. I'm not sure.
Dude, I love me a good dish of poutine now.
Oh, if people have not had poutine, you don't know what you're missing. I'm personally not allowed to eat it anymore because I'm on a diet, but it is fantastic.
I don't know why you're on a diet. You're so svelte as it is.
Yeah, no. Not even a little bit. Terrell's little daughter's birthday today. Well, happy birthday to Terrell's daughter. How old is she, if I may ask? It sounds like you're going to have a great day. And in initial D action, some initial D action going on. I'm just catching up with chat. Nikor F64 in chat. 4 years old, Terrell. That is fantastic. Happy birthday to the 4-year-old today. And hopefully she gets an opportunity to check out the drivers here at the Hungaroring. I don't think you could ask for a better birthday present than to watch racing in the rain.
Yeah, let's just hope her dad doesn't crash out.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Nope.
Oh, Steadfast. Has it been that long? Steadfast in the chat. I remember broadcasting the week after Steadfast had his baby. Well, his wife had his baby. And, you know, we had special stuff on stream for him and everything. So I cannot believe it has been a year already that Steadfast's daughter is just in a few weeks. That's fantastic. As we get ready, as I said, a 15-minute qualification here at the Hungaroring for our AM and rookie drivers. Did you know I never got an answer on the Discord as to who Frank Reynolds is on Discord?
Well, great name.
It is a fantastic name. I wanted to trade Sunny memes back and forth, but they never answered me. And there's no Frank Reynolds. I did an @ search on, you know, and there's no Frank Reynolds on the Discord, so I don't know who it is. Bothering me. You said Matthew Givens back this week, the only Audi on track.
Yep, Molson's beloved Audi.
It is. We'll put a lot of focus there. Bunnytail in says this blue guy sounds great. This blue guy is great. He's a fantastic person.
I certainly try. Lewis Ricard loves his quali bands.
He does love his quali bands as he sits there in the pits, not able to go anywhere. You could go out and practice, Lewis.
Yeah, he could have done some pracky laps.
Well, Brian did last week and basically just shut himself down before crossing the line, so he wasn't setting a time. I mean, our drivers are going to be setting times in the. Although I have to say, so far, no one has set a clean lap in the first 4 minutes of this qualification.
Not shocking. Being in the wet, this track is kind of slippery as it is, and I mean even in the dry,
it's pouring too.
It's pretty nasty. So now, Lewis, what you can do too is you can drive backwards in pit lane, and that'll automatically disqualify you from quali.
Yeah.
So, and we can remind you if you'd like us to. But
I am not taking that responsibility on. Why are you giving me responsibility that I don't need in my life, bro?
I know that cranium has a lot of things going on right now, and I can tell because
mostly squirrels and cobwebs.
No, the heat from your brain activity has burnt off all of your hair. That's
not all of it.
That's how I know that there's a lot going on there.
Not all of it. Just enough though that I have to. So hold on, Mr. Ploop. There we go. 157.8. Right before that, though, Mike Jones with a 159 flat. And now Shalengo jumps up with a 158.3. So times are now finally starting to come in. Bob Charlton about basically with a 159 flat as well.
And I actually have to apologize to Bob Charlton. Last week, I confused him with being someone's dad. And he swiftly corrected me via private message through a friend, and I felt terrible.
You accused him of being someone's father?
Yeah. I thought he was because we have there's a George Carlton, but it's Charlton, and I got them confused. So I thought it was someone's dad. So
I gotcha.
Yeah, my sincerest apologies, although pretty funny that I did that. And is that a Stephen Dunn sitting on pole right now?
That is Stephen Dunn sitting on pole. The only 156 we've got so far. 156.9, but still under that 157 mark. And really, Mr. Ploop, the only 157 as well, with Chalengo sitting in 158s.
And Chalengo had an awesome run at Kailami, qualified really, really well, and then just kind of a couple incidences on track and accidents, I should say, on track, and just kind of mess things up there. But hopefully he can continue that good run of qualifying and maybe try to beat Stephen Dunn for that pole position.
Absolutely. But Mr. Ploop doing quite well this week, currently sitting in second, and he's almost a full second up on his best time. But Stephen Dunn running another fastest lap, 156.9. No, that's where he was. Okay. That dropped off a bit. Wasn't able to hold it through the end of his lap. But Mr. Ploop, as I said, now half a second up. We'll see how this fluxes through his lap. Maybe we'll go on board with him as he takes another flying lap.
And I see turn one, and I guess what he just went through, which was turn 3 or 4, that kind of double apex. I see that, especially in the rain at the start of the race. I see that being a bit of a fight or a conundrum for these guys, especially in the wet.
I mean, number one, I think every time we go to the Hungaroring as a league, turn 1, not horrible. Can be, but not completely horrible, right? However, for some reason, people get this idea in their head that, well, I've made it through turn 1, so now I'm free to send it, and turn 2 ends up becoming just an obliteration. So I really hope, again, like you said, being in the rain, I really hope these guys play it back a little bit, can calm down, and understand that, yes, it's a sprint race, it's only 30 minutes, but there are going to be people spinning off track. There's going to be people bashing into each other. If you sit back and mind your business, you're probably going to place better than you think you will. Right? So
yes, yeah,
just saying.
Absolutely. That's, I mean, that's how I got. That's how I ended up in 7th, 8th. This guy Lamy was just avoiding garbage in front of me, and
Yep.
it ended up working out. So I think the top 5 guys have a lot of pressure on them to keep the first lap or the first sector clean, because if not, they'll just drop down the grid. So
Mr. Ploop just said our new fastest lap took pole position up. However, Stephen Dunn is on a run right now.
And Steve, I got reports from
almost a full second.
That he's a little cranky on how Kalami ended, not how he wanted to go, and he worked hard for this Hungaro race, so he's looking for a little bit of a revenge tour.
Well,
as far as this race goes,
let's see where he lines up here, because he's 0.8 over his fastest, and there we go, a 156.1 to take pole position back from Ploop. Hello from Germany. Welcome in, Logi TV, Logi TV, Logia TV, Logia TV. Are you from Logitech? But welcome in either way. Either way,
I highly doubt anyone from Logitech is watching us.
You never know.
Simulated race cars.
You never know. They do make
also,
simulated race car driving apparatus.
True. Rickard in the chat did correct me. It is T3. I said 3 or 4. I can never remember. So.
Oh, TG's kicking it off. You know, there's always TG. I love that man. He is fantastic. Nikolai Tsiabuk takes up P3 now, with Kevin Silvares right there in P4. Kevin having a really good season. I mean, Kevin's been around, I think, since the beginning of the league, or very close to. Another one of those drivers who I feel like we've watched a lot of improvement happen with, because I want to say, season 1, season 2 was kind of that mid-pack driver, right? Maybe in the top 10 or just outside of it. And now we see him qualified P4. And again, this is the AM class race. It just goes to show that that improvement happens. The more you drive, the better you get, right? Trying to learn that lesson myself by actually going out and driving, but
Yeah, he's him and I have had some run-ins on track. Incredibly awesome person, and he's really, really stepped up as far as driving goes. I think season 1 was a little rough for him, and season 2 got better, and then season 3, I think he's really trying to prove a point that he could definitely be in that silver, or maybe even that pro class eventually. But really, really killer driving by Kev as far as that goes.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I wonder how
he runs over the curve.
Taking a look at Josh Butler now. Josh, another one of our regulars, currently sitting P9. That's another thing I wonder at the end of this season, how the series managers over at the PC side will decide to run things with the classes, right? So how do you have another full qualifying, or do you, and I'm going to take this from my work perspective, right? As a mid-level manager, one of your jobs as a leader is to try and make your people better, right? You want them to do better. You want them to be better, not to oversaturate them, but to drive them towards being better, right? So do you take someone, do you take the top 3 drivers in AM this season and tell them, nah, you're silver class drivers now? You know what I mean? To push them into that next class and let them run with it. You know what I mean?
And let them duke it out. Well, yeah. I think to be totally honest, yes, I think you have that relegation and delegation moment of where you bump guys up that have earned it. You see incredible performance bumps, and I think one driver that really has had that from essentially the beginning. Now, we had some rookie drivers get bounced up, but the AM class is really where you're fighting to be brought up to that silver position.
Yeah.
And I think, Lewis, he pointed himself out in the chat that he could essentially pretty much secure the championship today if he wins.
Okay.
So that would be a driver that I would say
with a quali ban now.
Silver spot. With a quali ban.
Just to call it out, I mean, he is doing a quali ban, so he's going to be starting from the back of the pack. But
you're
right.
Wet.
In the wet.
A tough track.
But you're right.
But he could I mean, he's earned it. The Laguna Seca performance, and then the Kyalami performance where he has a quali ban for switching cars. I believe it might have been Nürburgring, but yeah, again,
these guys like trading cars a lot. Like, I don't know how. Yeah, right there, Nürburgring with a quali ban. So it's not impossible. And again, this is why I love wet races, and this is what's going to make this so interesting is all the things we're used to. All the things we're used to seeing, right? Ricard up front, Steve Dunn right there. Yeah, that's happening now. We see Dunn up front, and again, Ricard has the quali ban. But my point being this is, in the rain, that all gets tossed on its head because you take that whole issue of myself again, a mid pack or back of pack qualifier, not as fast as these guys. All I have to do is stay out of trouble, and suddenly I find myself in 10th or 9th or even 8th position. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's more important today than ever before. Again, a sprint race, 30 minutes is all you have, and this is a long circuit, 2 minutes a lap. You really only have 15 to 16 laps to make your play. But you can't make any play if you bin it out in T1 or T2.
It's going to come down to better overall driving skill, not necessarily total flat out pace, which is the thing here, especially at this track. This is a challenge, like I said, even in the dry. And I know teammates with Josh Butler on an endurance team, and we just did this a couple weeks ago, and we wanted to never see this track again. So the poor guy is sitting out here in a much more competitive car than what we were in. But real quick, in pit lane, looking at him, Bob Charlton moves up into that second position.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was moving it kind of on me late, and I think he may have earned a top 10 position if he didn't catch the wall. But Hungaroring seems to be where he really likes to drive.
And there we go. There is your grid as qualifying comes to an end. And as you said, Bob Charlton pulling up into row 1 with Stephen Dunn, who is your pole sitter for today's Hungaroring race. Mr. Ploop will be in row 2, sharing it with Simon Kuros below. Nikolai Tsiabuk getting himself up into P5. If Nikolai can stay out of trouble as we watch Mr. Ploop just throw that lap out, if Nikolai can keep himself out of trouble, this is another driver I think we've seen slowly move up the ranks during qualifying throughout the last 2 seasons. Absolutely. In qualifying and then even in races. In Kyalami, he really, I was thoroughly impressed. Watching the stream back, watching the race replay back, hats off to Nikolai. I remember bumping into him at Olton Park, and he had some sketchy rejoins there, and watching him in season 2, he's been great. I think another guy that has really earned a performance bump. If not, he will be in season 4, a top guy in AM for sure. Yeah, 100%. All right, I'm just trying to go through some messages here because one of our drivers. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do this and try not to screw it up. Well, he's going to screw it up. I'm going to screw it up. But one person we haven't talked about today, because I think he stayed in the pits the whole time, may have had the qualifying ban as well. Rydian Davies. Rydian. He did change cars. He went to the M4. Okay, that's why. Yeah, one of the UK based or Welsh drivers, excuse me. Yes. Well, that's the thing. So TG was really the first one to do it, and it's such a hard thing. I'm an American, guys. I don't talk to people from other countries except for Canada, and they have French names. Yeah. So he hit me on the side. Well, he hit me on the side, and he's like, "Hey, man, the first name is like this," and he's like, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to be like this." I'm like, "Dude, stop. No, don't apologize. I don't get better." No, if people don't tell me. As possible he wasn't mean to me at all. No, he was fantastic. I know, that's the problem. Well, maybe you kind of have to yell at me. Be constructive. Yeah. But seriously, like to any of our drivers, seriously, on Discord, hit me with a private message. Either give me a pronunciation, or if for some reason you feel it'd be easier to just send me like an audio file. That's what TG did. TG sent me like an audio file for his name. Because I didn't realize it was Gabe. It was like a long A. It was like Gable. So I just stick with TG on that one. yeah, but I try not to do that. SOP Motorsport in the chat. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. You have found Box 3, and while we have a minute here, before we kick off, Let's go take a look, because this is not the last race of the season. We're back next Sunday, July 10th at Zandvoort is where we will be kicking off. It's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, Blue. That's going to be fantastic. No, next Sunday. Yeah, we'll get you a happy birthday if I can remember. Hey, and maybe you're not an ACC person, and if you are, maybe you're not on PC. That's okay. I'm showing the Xbox GT3 League, but guess what? Yesterday was actually the last race of Season 3 of our Xbox League. However, I bring it up anyway to show you that A, we do have an Xbox League. 2, Season 4 is about 2 weeks out. And starting this week, a GT4 casual series during the week. So if you're an Xbox driver, make sure you get in on that. Also, we cover iRacing. We just did Okayama yesterday. We've got, or I'm sorry, Summit. No, this is the wrong schedule. We did Okayama yesterday. And then we have 2 more races coming up throughout July, but this is the wrong schedule. Ignore it. However, we do iRacing, and then we'll see what Season 2 brings of iRacing. I don't know what we're going to do, but this is the one I'm waiting for. Next Saturday, July 9th. Want to talk about Zandvoort, 6-hour endurance series in conjunction with 949 and Trackalicious Sim Racing. We want those guys to come over. We have that last race was so much fun. And the only thing is, next Saturday, send yourself over to twitch.tv/Trackalicious. They will be broadcasting the Zandvoort race. But on August 20th, right back here from Mount Panorama, one of my absolute favorite circuits. Wow. August 20th, 6 hours of endurance racing right here at Box3 Motorsports. And if you like endurance, don't go too far, because again, July 23rd at 10 a.m. UTC, 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the 12 hours of Barcelona kicks off in just, 3 weeks? I can't wait for it. 12 endurance races are events to me, not just races. It's going to be so much fun. We're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, they're fun for drivers too. You get to hang out with a couple of your buddies in a voice chat and do driver swaps. They're a blast. I'm excited. I'm excited to team up with Stephen Dunn and Josh Butler at Zandvoort. That'll be a blast.
Oh, perfect. You guys make a good team. Because you're just goofy enough to enjoy it, but you're serious enough to take it seriously, but you're goofy enough to know you're having fun and you don't care. I mean, we saw the last endurance race. You guys had a pretty rough time, right?
We had a very rough time.
Yeah, but you stuck with it the whole time. That's my point. Is you guys stuck around. You didn't leave. You didn't quit. You didn't. You know what I mean? Like
not a chance.
So
not a chance.
I think that's a great thing.
Mama didn't raise no bitch. All right. So.
We don't use words like that on this stream. Thank you.
Sorry.
The opinions of your boy Blue does not represent the opinions of Box3 Motorsports.
Dylan Dunn's gonna come for me in the chat. You're like, sir, language. It's like Captain America.
Yeah, it's like you get a Captain America from me. You do. There you have it again, folks. Stephen Dunn, Bob Charlton sharing row 1. Mr. Ploop and Simon Euros below will be in row 2. Nikolai Tsiabuk and Kevin Silvares. That's an interesting battle. I want to watch these two today.
That'll be fun.
Nikolai and Kevin, I think if they can keep it clean through the start of this race, I think we might see a lot of great battles right there. Marcos Manulak, I probably pronounced his name wrong again too, the Box3 official livery designer, and Mike Jones are going to share row 4. Onivaldo Shalengo and Josh Butler in row 5. Frank the Warthog Reynolds in row 6 with Terrell Seans-Taylor, Matthew Givens, and Kevin Torrance in row 7. Kenny O'Connor and Rydian Davis, row 8. And Louis Ricard, with that qualification ban, will be bringing up the rear.
Both Rydian and Ricard.
That's right. Rydian, yeah, you're right. Rydian, I keep forgetting Rydian had the same thing as well.
We also, the cool part about this AM class is like gap in where people are from. Of course, Chilango from I believe it's Mozambique. And
oh wow!
Torrance is coming to us from New Zealand. He's a teammate. So
wow,
that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
If I missed anybody else that's from a faraway location, please let me know. That's,
hey,
I always find that really interesting.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you keep within the range of the Wi-Fi?
I am in the range of the Wi-Fi.
There you go. Now you're in the range of the Wi-Fi. Quit moving around.
I'm vibing. I'm vibing.
It's okay. You can vibe all you want. Just stay within the range of the Wi-Fi.
The Bentley garage here is, I think it's Spectrum Wi-Fi.
There's Wi-Fi all down the paddock. See? Look at that.
Is it Spectrum? I think it might be Spectrum.
It could very well be Spectrum, and if you're using Spectrum Wi-Fi, I don't know have anything to say about it. I don't do that.
You nothing in terms of that, eh?
No, because that's not what I do. That's an endpoint thing, man. Like that's at the far end of what I do. So I don't yeah, I have nothing to say about it.
Yeah, Lucas, or Lewis. I would say Lucas Ricard, but it's not Lucas. It's Lewis Ricard from the great land,
So he's from Scotland. From Scotland.
Scotland. Yeah.
So do I have to go Lewis Ricard like that? Like, is that a requirement? No, I probably shouldn't do that, huh?
Pretty sure we just offended him with our terrible Scottish accent.
I probably absolutely offended him, and
I did call him groundskeeper Willie last week. I felt really bad.
Well, I honestly am glad we did it now, though, because if he did happen to laugh about it, at least it's the formation lap. There's no contact turned on, and he'll be okay. He can stop laughing before the actual race starts. So.
And he has to focus on driving, so
he does.
Can't type any more messages in the chats. We can just make fun of him all we want now.
Yeah. Stephen Dunn leading us out in that Bentley. Josh Butler in the Repsol Honda. 2 Hondas on track today. Mr. Butler and Terrell Seens-Taylor.
And that car has absolutely impressed recently.
It really has. I mean, I think now there were changes made with the 1.8 update to the Honda, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yes,
it got a buff for sure. So
it's made it competitive, I think, is important, right? I mean, look, all these cars, all these various manufacturers, the reason there's a BOP is because, I mean, it's literally balance of power. They want every manufacturer to be competitive. And
the BMW is still pretty good.
Yeah, but when that M4 dropped, I mean, that was all anybody was driving. And there's a reason for that. One, it was new. Okay. But also, it was dominating. Our entire first season at Box 3 was dominated by BMW M4s.
Yeah.
To the point where they were not coming out with a BOP, we had to add ballast. Right?
I remember that. It was,
we had to,
funny.
as a league, we had no choice but to ballast these cars because everybody else driving something else couldn't get anywhere. The whole top 10 was BMWs. Like, okay, stop. Except for one.
I mean,
there was one M6 driver that was just dominating that first season.
Tom is so fast. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
But you take a look at the top 4. You have a Bentley, a BMW, Ferrari, and an Aston. That's awesome.
Awesome. Yes, done. This is the AM class race. Don't forget, folks, stick around after this. We will be jumping directly over to Pro and Silver qualifying before the start of that race as we head into double file and somebody diving, Simon Carlos Below diving directly into the pits. So Simon,
I'm also noticing
and then came back out. What? We're double file ready for green here at the Hungaroring today. I'm wondering if we're going to see a drive-through here. Charlton is leading out Dunn. And we will have to see if he doesn't pull a penalty for that as we come down the hill into T1 for the first time today in the pouring rain. We're going 3 wide. And there we go. Stephen Dunn able to sneak back, but does it by going deep. Mr. Ploop looking to get some action up here too as Bob Charlton pulls out ahead. We've got pushing in the back. Simon Kuros below gets pushed sideways as we come down into T2 with the front runners. Bob Charlton out front, Mr. Ploop. Stephen Dunn dropping 2 spots in the first corner. Losing out quickly in the Bentley. He shot it a little deep, but Lewis Ricard, Mike Jones, below, and Shalengo all with contact in T1.
Oh, and Butler
Silvares. Yep, Butler spinning. Silvares in the grass back there.
And Butler's instinct was kind of interesting. Whoever was behind him barely misses him.
Oh,
and hopefully he can get that.
He's been set for so long that I can't do a 10-second replay. How about that? We'll jump back up to Bob Charlton as he continues to lead right now, though. Josh Butler back on track.
By Bob there at the beginning of that, where Dunn just kind of runs that a little wide and pays for it. I think he was taking that T1 a little quick, to be totally honest.
But see, here's the curious part for me is Charlton was leading out as we got the green light.
And no penalty for him.
And no penalty that I can see right now. So with no penalty coming from that, if I'm Steve Dunn, maybe I'm a little upset. I can see that car ahead of mine, and I know I had pole position. But I've got to let it go and get on with this race now. Lewis Ricard. So Lewis Ricard already making moves. This guy with a quali ban. Steve Dunn now yellow flagged as he drops off. Steve Dunn into the wall. Slid himself, it looks like, and spun that Bentley right around.
was a pretty cool move, though.
It was, but right now, let's take a look here because Lewis Ricard and Terrell Sainz-Taylor, as Taylor now dropping off. Lewis Ricard now up into 8th, starting with a quali ban.
Yeah, I did heck of a drive. He's got a little bit of side damage. It might just be the reflection, but
looks like a little bit of scuffing up. Yeah, a little bit of door banging.
Bumping and grinding there. The other interesting part that I found out is if you look back, Kevin Torrance is in a V12 Aston, which is not a very meta car. Yeah.
Well,
kudos to him for that.
Watching right now, Terrell Sainz-Taylor, Steve Dunn with contact. And we are running tight right here with Taylor, Givens, and Torrance all stacked up on top of each other as we come around for lap 2.
And
Taylor way off track there, but able to hold on for now.
That fast little almost mini chicane. It's kind of a weird corner, very tricky. It's that big runoff, and guys, you got to be really careful to not kind of do what Terrell did there.
Oh, and Taylor taking that cut. We'll see if that won't buy him any. Oh, man, I don't like that.
You have to. You got to be mindful of the curbs here.
You do, yeah. That's not where you want to run over a curb. I can tell you that from my Audi experience. So Taylor holding on for now. Matthew Givens continuing to want to apply pressure. Bob Charlton leads us out, however, over Mr. Ploop. Nikolai Tsiabuk finds himself in P3. And Marcos Manulak taking up position 4, pushing Kevin Silvares up into 5th at this point.
You got to really roll that R in Marcos.
Marcos. Don't make me do that, though. I'm just going to say Marcos because if I do that for if I do Marcos, right, then I have to do Les Ricard, and I shouldn't do that. As we check on Lewis real quick, he just got around Mike Jones. Ridian Davis also right there as these guys stack up coming around again.
Yeah, and Ridian Davis getting in touch with that BMW M4.
Just getting right there, pulling around Mike Jones. As Jones throws it around the curb.
Got to be careful with that accelerator, especially in the wet.
Well, it looked like he might have hooked the curb there as well, just enough to give him some slip and push him around.
And so the curbs of this track in the dry are unforgiving, let alone in the little bit of the wetness.
And Lewis Ricard already up on the back end of Frank Reynolds.
The trash man.
You're going to get me going. Ridian Davis right there with them as well. So again, we've got a 3-way play coming up.
By the way, I think it's I'll DM you his Discord name because I'm pretty sure I know who it is, actually.
Okay.
A great livery on there too.
I love it.
Yeah. I really want him to defend against Lewis Ricard because I want Ricard to have some challenge in this race a little bit.
Well, I mean, he's pushed himself. Yeah, I mean, he's already up into 7th from a last place start. Again, we talked about it before the race. Kept himself out of trouble, right?
Yeah. He's a little bumping and grinding and some smoothing here and there, but.
And we got to watch up front. Kevin Silvares, just ahead of these guys, made contact. We saw that bump at the top of our screen. And now Kevin Silvares able to get around Marcos.
Porsche on Porsche violence.
It was rather violent.
Two pigs going at it. I love that. I love that Porsche that Marcos has. Silvares is pretty fun too, but man, that weird camo that Marcos has on his Porsche is really neat.
So again, Frank Reynolds continuing to feel the pressure from Lewis Ricard. Lewis looking to the inside now, going down into T1. It looks like he might have it. And a big quick pass, easily getting around Frank.
And look at that inside line of Ridian is going to get cut off by Frank. And Ridian saw some daylight there. I think
he did.
Really, I think in a different timeline, Ridian takes that. But Ridian's just got to take it easy and find an opening because I think he can take Mr. trash man Frank Reynolds.
Well, Reynolds had no opportunity to really block Ricard, right? Ricard had the inside line. He was there before the corner, so he couldn't close the door on him, so to speak.
Yeah, you move there and you do anything too aggressive, it's a penalty and you ruin both races.
Absolutely, so. But he did have opportunity with Davis because Davis wasn't at that point yet. So we'll see how much defense he has to play here and whether or not Riddian Davis can make a move.
Now, we do have a pit window in this race, correct?
I have no idea.
I believe
I always forget.
I want to say it's fuel only.
Yeah, I do believe it's fuel only with a window. Yes, you're correct. Should be in the bottom third of the 30 minutes. And there goes Riddian Davis right there.
And you got to think that Frank Reynolds is getting a little demotivated right now. He just had two guys fly right by him. But now he didn't have an opportunity to defend.
Well, and now it has to play defense against Stephen Dunn as well.
There's Jones in for some points here.
After the race start, he really wants to push himself back towards the front. Qualified first, started on pole position in this race, now sitting in 9th. However, while we've been watching Frank and his various battles,
identities,
we need to take a look up front. Bob Charlton now with Mr. Ploop, only about half a second back, so that battle has continued to tighten up.
And how is it? Charlton hasn't led for a whole lot of laps. He led a little bit at Kailami due to some pits. But you got to think that he's a little bit of pressure now. So we'll see how he deals with it. Fluke's got to be excited to be in second right now after semi-disappointing, but he raced pretty well at Kailami. So we'll see how he does. Maybe try to force Charlton into making a mistake.
And there we see Matthew Givens getting around Josh Butler as Onivado Shalengo struggles off track and drops all the way back to P16. And Stephen Dunn has now gotten around Frank Reynolds. Jump back real quick. Not far enough. I hate the 10-second replay. It's not enough. Ugh. So there, Frank Reynolds now back to P9 as Stephen Dunn opens it up, already opening that gap to just about 2 seconds. Let's jump back here, though. Terrell Seens-Taylor under pressure from Matthew Givens, who we just saw get around Josh Butler. Butler still hanging right there with him. So another three-way battle going on today. You know, for a 2-minute lap time, or almost 2 minutes, call it what it is. Let's round up for easy math. We got a lot of tight battles today involving multiple drivers, not just one or two, but 3 or 4 at a time. And even during a 30-minute race, I would expect to see some more spread, given the weather or everything else. Matthew Givens looking for every opportunity, and Taylor and Givens both heading into the pits. Mike Jones in P10 already there. It's going to open it up for Josh Butler now to get himself up into the top 10 ahead of Jones.
And there's an interesting lack of NS racing in his McLaren this week. So that's
very true.
Definitely an interesting miss out, but he's probably doing something.
As you said, it is Canada Day and 4th of July weekend.
Yep.
So while we do have an international group of drivers, that'll take a good number off the track today. As we check in with Charlton, Mr. Ploop not quite able to close in. Now sitting around 1 second off the pace.
And if I'm Ploop and I'm in that Ferrari, I'm not gonna push too hard right now because it's still a little early on. But I am gonna let Charlton know that, yeah, man, I'm still here. I can do this.
Louis Ricard now off track. Let's back up, see if we catch it. Right there, hits Manu sliding out a little bit, maybe. Cutting off the line, and now Louis Ricard back to P9. Frank Reynolds getting back up into that top 10. Manulak holding on to P6. That's a hard one right there because it was very hard to see. That's why we always say on stream, we are not the deciders of incidents. We catch what we catch.
That didn't look intentional. It looked like, honestly, Manu caught a puddle or something.
Yeah, it almost looked like the back end slipped on him, right?
Yeah. So I think that's going to get chalked up to a racing incident. But like you said, we're not the ultimate deciders.
That's why we have great stewarding team.
We do have a great stewarding team. Make sure you don't hit him on track.
Try not to. Mr. Ploop now definitely applying the pressure, was able to tighten things up on Bob Charlton.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I was talking about.
Let's keep an eye on Ploop, though. The few times we focus where, even if we're focused on Charlton, you see Ploop in the background. I gotta say, that Ferrari is really sketchy in the rain. You see the back end cut loose a lot.
Yeah, he's got to be good with throttle and brake management. You got to be smart as far as where you're applying it and where you're pushing that car, and you got to stay on track. That's for sure. Once you go off track, it's game over.
A quick look at our position deltas today as we watch this battle play out. So Ploop and Charlton both up one spot each. Obviously with Steven Dunn dropping back. Nikolai Tsiabuk making up 2 along with Kevin Silvaris. But look at there. Ridian Davis, 11 position gains during the first half of this race. So, we talked about Louis Ricard. Now, Louis Ricard obviously was doing very well. Still is. Up 6 spots so far. You can't complain about that. He wanted to secure a championship today, but that's not always in the cards, right? But if you look at Ridian Davis, that is someone who has had a very clean race and has kept himself out of trouble 110%.
And that was kind of what I mentioned at the top was, this is going to separate guys that are good at driving, not necessarily just pure pace. Mm-hmm. And Ridian's kind of definitely shown that. Now, he hasn't hit, I don't believe, so we haven't seen that happen.
No, but the pit stops. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they're quick. It's just fuel, so it's not going to be it's more like a formula pit stop than an actual GT pit stop. But he's proven that stay out of the weeds, he'll be doing fine. And it looks like he's really searching for that dry line, if there is one, to try to get on the most traction. He's not really varying off from the, I guess, semi-wet. It's not necessarily dry.
Well, I would say a lot of his position gains have been because of other people having problems, causing incidents, or just throwing themselves off track, right? And so he hasn't really had to make any power moves throughout the first half of this race. Now with pits opening up, as you said, we're going to see how things change around. We've still got the entire top 7, along with Josh Butler and Kevin Torrance, have yet to make pit stops. Nikolai Tsiabuk in there now is actually back out on track in P8. So Nikolai, one of the early front runners, going for an undercut.
And we'll see which one proves beneficial, the undercut or the overcut. And I would say the biggest power move that Davis had to make was, I guess, the one on Reynolds, passing that green Porsche. But really, again, that wasn't necessarily a power move. There's no battle there. It just happened to be a little bit of an easy overtake. I don't want to call it an easy overtake, take anything away from Frank, who's running a good race, but it looked pretty easy on our end. But
Ridian's got such pace, right? Again, with that, we didn't get to see that before the race due to the quali ban. But I'd be curious to know where he qualified. I know prior to the race, Louis Ricard was saying how he was doing 155s as his fastest qualifying, just practicing for today's race in the rain on the server. So it's really hard to say, where that would have happened. Now, there we go. Marcos Maniluk was under pressure from Steve Dunn, but Steve Dunn opting to head into the pits. Kevin Silvares in the pits now. Average pit stop around 5 seconds, it looks like. Some of these drivers a little slower. Louis Ricard only 5.3, Nikolai Tsiabuk 5.6 seconds at the stop. But Mike Jones coming in with a 9.1 seconds and Terrell Seens-Taylor with 13 seconds on the stop.
You got to think there may be some ignition problems, or adding a little bit extra fuel just to be safe. But to be totally honest, I love these just fuel pit stops because they're still long, but they're just, like I said, they're a formula type pit stop. Yeah. They're not the 30 seconds, but it still requires you to have a little bit of strategy involved. So
Yep.
it makes it fun.
100%. No, I do like this, and I like using the pit windows. You know, that's something we've never done in the past. Folks could pit anytime they wanted, and now I think, you know, again, IRL, GT World Racing, there are pit windows, right? Yeah, you can go anytime you want. Doesn't count as a pit stop. So, you know, you got to plan a strategy there on the undercut, overcut, all those different things. And pitting in general is a strategy, but I want to say that I like these pit windows. It tightens things down to where everybody's going in during this certain time frame. And outside that, they can just drive. It's not 100% strategy all the time. You actually have to be out on track to make moves and things like that. Our drivers relatively...
I agree. It's fun to be totally honest. As a driver, it makes things interesting and adds another layer of what we're doing. Driver is a loose term, by the way. It's in quotes.
Listen, I drive. Doesn't make me a race car driver, that's for sure.
I drive to work. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I sim race like you do, but I will never claim to be fast. All I try and do is be clean.
I did say I was a driver, not a fast driver. So
yeah, exactly.
But I am
There's a
currently
difference.
third in the championship. So after this race, of course, I'll drop. But just saying. I mean, not to humble brag or anything, but.
So there we go. All of our top 3 drivers, Charlton, Ploop, and Davis, all into the pits now. That will put Marcos Maniluk out front in P1. We'll see how long that takes. Josh Butler now, and Kevin Silvares spun.
Ooh.
Let's back that way up 30 seconds. Let's just see if we can catch this, because it doesn't, I don't want to think they were separated. I don't think there was contact here. They've got Kevin Torrance between them on track. Looks like Butler now heading into the pits, but yeah, Butler throwing himself into the corner. Dunn able to get by, but Kevin Silvares not ready for what was there and ends up spinning himself. So again, Butler doing the right thing, right? He knew he had traffic coming, didn't want to move, didn't want to hit anybody, you know, but then Silvares comes around and doesn't know where to go because he couldn't slow down fast enough. So too bad to see that.
Yeah,
but Silvares still running in P6, now under pressure from Lewis Ricard.
Kudos to both of them for having that awareness to be. I mean, that's good driving skill right there. And Dunn gets away as the kind of innocent party there. He just kind of zooms right along. So
it's the sneak on through.
Yeah. So definitely surprised that Dunn didn't spin out, but I think maybe he was maybe expecting Butler to spin out. You know.
Well, now we're going to keep an eye on Kevin Silvares and Lewis Ricard. So now only 2 drivers who have not gone into the pits, Josh Butler and Marcos Manulak. Relcines Taylor coming back out on track now, along with Onivaldo Shalengo.
And Manu's got a pretty big gap to.
And we lost Shalengo.
So.
We lost 2 drivers. Shalengo being one of them. That's why I couldn't click on him. But now Nikolai Tsiabuk, Nikolai coming out great in the pits again. 5.6 seconds during the stop, a total of 30.3 seconds. But Bob Charlton, 13.8 seconds in the pits. And it cost him, because now Nikolai Tsiabuk is leading this race as Marcos Manilak heads into the pits for his mandatory stop right as the window is closing. I hope he got in there in time, actually. We'll see if that counts for Marcos. He may have a problem there, because we are outside that 10 minutes, aren't we? With only 9 minutes left to go in this race.
Pretty big gap between him and Tsiabuk. So I think he was trying to push the limit, and he may have found it. Our lone Argentinian racer.
Butler may have found it as well, because I have R's next to 3 people's names. Maniluk, Givens, and this is the thing with this software, is it doesn't tell you everything. I don't know what those R's mean.
Retired.
It could be retired, that those pit stops did not count. But again, as I was saying a moment ago, Nikolai, and right there, Charlton spun right behind and off into the grass. So now Mr. Ploop going to take up P2, and with a 3-second gap to Nikolai. Nikolai having a great race. As I said, super fast in and out of the pits. Louis Ricard, I think the only one beating him on the stop at 5.3 seconds. The Seabook's 5.6. Ploop and Charlton both with 10 plus seconds, 12.5 and 13.8 respectively. Stephen Dunn, the only one down in that range at 6.4, and he is in third now after getting around Bob Charlton on his spin.
Yeah, and I think for Bob there was just a matter of dead, stupid, twisty turning chicane. You just catch a little bit too much of it, and you end up sinking yourself.
Yeah, it's certainly not.
Thank you very much.
Yep, certainly no contact or anything that we saw there, but that certainly has changed things up. As Nikolai leads us out with Ploop again, still 2.5 seconds off the pace. Now, what's curious, last laps, if we look at best and we look at last, Ploop is about a second faster than Seabook right now. So their best laps between the two of them, Mr. Ploop did a 156.6, Nikolai at a 157.4. And on their last laps, Mr. Ploop, now here it's flip-flop though, Mr. Ploop with a 158.5, and as you see there, Nikolai with a 157.7. These guys are pretty evenly stacked, and we're going to have to see if Ploop can close this gap up at all during the last 7 minutes of this race today.
We saw what happened when Ploop came, I don't want to say came together with Charlton, but he added a little bit of pressure. They weren't super close. They weren't, front bumper to rear bumper kind of deal, but just a little bit of pressure, having that guy right behind you, provides a little bit extra mental warfare, and I think that's really what Ploop can do here. But Seabook's held on and kind of lonely. He's handled pressure before, so I think it'll be a driver error that's going to come down to this.
Well, that's one of the things we talked about with Nikolai, is that he's one of those drivers, as we said, like Kevin Silvares, who over the last several seasons we've watched them improve, right? We've watched him go from low mid-pack to high mid-pack, now leading this race at the Hungaroring today. So he's very consistent. I think that's the thing with Nikolai. We rarely see Nikolai on stream or on camera. Not because he's a bad driver, but because he's so consistent. And he's never in trouble, and he's never pushing somebody out of the way, and he's not getting into incidents and things of this nature.
What we're trying to say, Nikolai, is that you're incredibly boring, which is a great thing.
It's a great thing. Makes for piss poor TV time, but I mean, look how much better you're getting, right? So like, yeah, I think, and now the gap has actually opened up to about 3 seconds. So Nikolai actually increasing the gap at this point instead of allowing Ploop to close in on him. And if these guys can avoid back markers for the next 5.5 minutes, we really could see Nikolai just run away with this today.
And we talked about him leading this race, but he got a podium, from what I remember, he got a podium in Kalami last week. Mm-hmm. So it's not, this isn't uncharted territory for him to be in that top 5 at least. So, and I believe he ran a decent race at Nürburgring as well, if I can remember. So, he's earned the podium right now, and hopefully the win. Hopefully I didn't just absolutely curse him and his engine's going to blow up. But
yeah, that's perfect. Just keep talking about him.
Yeah.
Stephen Dunn able to climb himself back up into third, currently 10.5 or 11 seconds back from Mr. Ploop. Also, Bob Charlton, after his spin, now sitting in fourth, and a little bit of pressure. Not quite there yet, but about 1 second behind him, you see Kevin Silvares on your screen. So
and I think we really wanted to see Kevin battle. I think we wanted to see some scrappiness from Silvares. And we haven't seen a whole lot of it. Him and Marcos coming together a little bit, but for the most part, the rain kind of screws up any sort of really good tenacity.
Yeah, but Kevin's had a decent race today. He's done very well again, sitting in fifth right now. I really figured, we saw the qualification, and I think the battle we were looking for was between him and Seabook. And now Seabook's leading, and Kevin's sitting back in fifth, so we're not going to get that battle today. Let's go take a look at that position delta. Kevin Silvares able to gain 1. Louis Ricard now up 11 spots, just like we saw. That's who's missing. We lost Davis.
Oh, that sucks.
We lost Davis. That's who we lost. I couldn't tell who else dropped, but we lost Davis. But Davis was up 11 spots at one point, but now Louis Ricard looking to be the big gainer on today's race, coming from all the way in the back as he picks up P6 behind Silvares. He's sitting about 3.5 to 4 seconds back right now, so we'll have to see if he's able to close that up. Only about 3 minutes left to go in today's AM race.
I think a P8, I think a win today and a P8 at Zandvoort would guarantee him a championship. But I think if he does a P8 today and a win at Zandvoort,
yeah,
he'd essentially lock up that championship.
But you know what would help lock up the championship even more?
A win today and a win at Zandvoort.
No. Pick a car.
Yeah. I think we can chirp the hell out of him for
just pick a car. It's like the second or third time this season he's changed cars. I get it.
I got reports.
I'm just saying
the paddock, the Audi at Laguna Seca was a mismatched car. It was something that the team had just brought in to get him on the track.
Okay.
The Porsche was there and what he was going to go with at Laguna Seca, and ran it at Nürburgring and Kyalami and ran well. There were issues getting it to the Hungaroring, essentially. And we went with the Ferrari, which, as you can see, is a blank livery. I didn't even have time to get any sponsors on the car. They just threw it together.
Oh, my Lord, you are a nutter.
He's sitting 11. He's sitting with 11 divisions in a car that barely had any time. So.
Well, Dunn says if you're going to switch cars, this is the series to do it. Audi is a mismatch at Laguna, lies and slander. I know. I'm just letting him talk at this point, Dunn. Don't worry about it.
No, it's a mismatch. Like a car that they just put together to get him on the track.
What?
I did not say it was a mismatch for the track car combo. That's not what I was saying.
You're doing a bit. I don't think Dunn got you were doing a bit. I knew you were doing a bit, along with your Mr. Cannellini or whatever his name is.
Yeah, and you better shut up about Fernando.
I said what I said, and I stand by it. Okay, he's got no loyalty. He's got no loyalty, and you're gonna have a problem with him in the future. I guarantee it.
Him and his 4 supermodel wives from various countries.
Not my problem. He should calm down about it. Maybe if he wasn't such a philanderer.
Philanderer. I think one of them calls him an adulterer, but that's a
kind of the same deal, right? I mean, that's what I'm getting at. How much loyalty he's going to have to you? He's going to jump teams. Forget about it. You don't own him.
We'll see.
Jump back up front here, though. Nikolai Tsiabuk now with only about a 1.5 second gap to Ploop. 30 seconds to go, but these guys may have to run one more lap. And Ploop has now closed the gap enough to have opportunity if that is the case. So we will wait and see as these guys come across the line. Mismash. Bunnytail in the chat says mismash. Thank you for being here, Bunnytail.
It's me.
Oh, wait, what?
That's me.
You're Bunnytail.
I'm on my significant other's iPad, yes.
What is wrong with you?
I have a lot of screens going on right now.
Wow.
I'm being an iPad kid this weekend at the lake.
Gotcha. Well, your significant other, thank you to her, I guess, for letting you use that as we watch this tighten down. And here we go. Nope, Tsiabuk wins today's race with Mr. Ploop right there. Got that gap down to under a second, but it has closed in. That is the checkered flag. Stephen Dunn now heading down to pick up third, which, honestly, given the start of the race, I mean, Dunn, yes, lost 2 spots up front from qualifying, but kind of finished right where he started this race going into T1 after the whole T1, T2 stuff, right? So,
and kudos to him for getting a podium after the incident at Kyalami, and kudos to Tsiabuk for the W. That was a
great race on his part. Louis Ricard, one of the drivers we were watching today, now finishing up in 5th. In 6th. Kevin Silvares finishing in 5th for today's race. Mike Jones, Marcos Manulak, and Frank Reynolds, along with Matthew Givens, as we wait for these guys to finish up coming across the line. Matthew Givens going to make up your top 10 in today's AM class race.
And the trash man comes in top 10 finish.
Clutch top 10 finish from the trash man. The Warthog, Frank Reynolds. So again, folks, don't leave. Don't go anywhere. Dunn, don't leave.
Right here.
Dunn, don't. Where are you going, Dunn? There's another race. Are you kidding me right now?
Sit back down, buddy.
Well, guys, it's what he does. He doesn't show up yesterday for iRacing because he needed a haircut. Like, really?
Wow. The
I'm
audacity.
saying, like, you
Wow.
can't go get a haircut some other time.
He doesn't even have that much hair. I've seen
Exactly. Like, it could have gone an extra day. He wasn't gonna, like, whatever.
Now, you talking about haircuts is a little ironic. But...
I shaved yesterday before the race.
Yeah, but did you get the turtle wax with a little mini buffer on the dome there?
No, you don't do that. Nobody does that. Nobody shines their head. Don't be weird.
Wow, I'm getting a report from that Ricard garage. Lots of damage on that Ferrari.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hence why he was down a little bit. So
you could jump back over here. There's something wrong with you. There's some kind of wrong with you. All right, folks. With that, Molson shines his head confirmed. No, Molson does not shine his head. Because it only stays 100%. Completely shaved one day, and then it starts growing back. Why? Listen. Why do you think I can wear things like this? Watch. Hold on. You see the amount of pressure I had to apply to that? It's like Velcro. It's really bad. Believe me, I wish I had
turtle wax and a mini buffer confirmed.
Yep. My wife does it for me. See, look, right there. There we go. I cut my own hair. Steadfast says more money for sim racing. See? All right, folks. Well, listen, Mr. Blue, you are welcome to sit here and commiserate, as I know you are good at. I am going to take a quick step away. I have engaged autopilot as we watch the last 2 minutes of practice and for our pro and silver race, and then we will get ready for qualification. 20-minute qual, 45-minute race coming up right after this, folks. Hang out. Let's see what kind of times our pro class drivers can set.
This is from the M race. Marcos missed the pit window by 1 second.
Ah, see, yep. I'm curious how much Butler missed it by, because he was retired as well, I believe.
Oh, and Ridian got disqualified. A marshal caught him speeding in the pit lane.
Oh. Wow, that's why he left. I heard, listen, I was supposed to do the driver's meeting today, and I totally space cadetted. I thought it was still an hour until the driver's meeting, so I wasn't there. So Will jumped in to do the driver's meeting. And during the course of the driver's meeting, he literally told them, watch it going into the pits because it's going to be slick, and you have to be very careful with these pits. So, all right, folks, everybody hang out. My name is Adam. I am joined by your boy Blue. He will be back in a minute. I will be back in a minute. As practice finishes up, we'll get jumped in here on qualification in just a few moments. Stick around.
We should honestly get the stream sponsored by Turtle Wax. Nice racing and great commentary. I'll take the great commentary as my compliment, not Molson's. Well, that was a fun disaster. 2 spins, and it could have been the top 10. Wah wah. Yeah, you did okay. I know the hardship that you felt on that track. At least you were in a competitive car this time, Josh. Do some back end work to see. We do run a technical sim car championship. So if we say that we detail our simulated cars with turtle wax, maybe we're on board with Anthony Anderson, who's we're gonna sick. Pepsi livery. I love that livery. I don't even like Pepsi. I just think it looks cool. Very on brand for this weekend. We detail our heads. It will all shave our heads and shine them for a Turtle Wax sponsorship. Pad 1 for quali and Pad 2 for the race. Got to remember next weekend we don't do Pad 1 for a 6-hour race. Also, I hope you guys can hear me okay. I hope I'm not coming in crappy. Pad 4. Yeah. Pad 6 if it's available. Just the thickest, densest brake pad they can give us. Sad Manu noises in the chat. I forgot when I was talking about people from faraway lands, Mozambique for Chilengo, New Zealand for Torrance, and Argentina for Manu. Quite a range of people. I'm coming to you on a phone, Steadfast, and I'm in the middle of central. Well, I'm kind of in the boonies. I'm by a lake in the Midwest, so I believe it's Mozambique. Yeah, he's on. It's on Discord as Mozambique, so maybe that's where he's from. But I always thought that was kind of cool when I saw that on SimGrid. Now I'm second guessing myself. I'm gonna triple check. Yeah, I'm pretty proud that I've worked out. Molson said that if I sounded really bad, he would kick me out. So
we are back with 17 minutes left in qualifying today. I heard Blue talking when I came down.
Yep.
Took me just an extra minute to grab a seat. John Gray out on track. So let's get caught up with our pro and silver class drivers today. Retro Coffin back with us again. So far, just about 3 minutes into qualification and no completed clean laps as of yet. But Retro Coffin, John Gray, Daniel Pickett returns in the Pink Pig Porsche.
Yeah, and only 13 drivers on track.
Yeah, very few. You know, and we talked about it, about pushing this this race out because, well, you know, I mean, it's 4th of July weekend.
I mentioned it a little too late.
Yeah, and not just you. We all should have thought of it. None of us were looking at what was going on, and none of us looked at what you know, maybe we should have been with scheduling. Summer is, and listen, I've said this several times, that summer is very hard because a lot, like if you live somewhere like I do, and I know you're in Ohio. I think you're in Ohio, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So if you look at like where I'm at in northern New York, up where, you know, Zap's in Canada, we got a couple Canadian drivers as we talked about. But the fact is that I spend 6 to 7 months a year inside. Because it's winter and I'm not a winter sports person. I don't ski, I don't snowmobile, I don't skate, I don't do any of those things. So when you're someone like me,
your terrible tan.
Well, exactly. When you're someone like me, you spend 6 to 7 months a year inside. The only time you go outside is A, for work, B, to plow, or C, for food. That's it. You know, so when summer gets here, I don't want to sit down here racing all the time, right? I go and I sit on my deck and we barbecue and we smoke meats and we do all kinds of stuff outside. So I understand why we have a slight drop off in drivers, because these guys want to be out. They're out and about and doing stuff. They're not sitting at home racing, unfortunately.
So TG was asking who I was talking about. I was talking about Chilengo. because you're talking about him being from Mozambique, and it is Mozambique. I confirmed it on SimGrid. We also have a professional hockey player on our SimGrid.
Not
So
you. Not you.
Not me. Not me.
you.
I'm so far from professional.
Who's the professional hockey player? If I may ask, is that something I can ask, or should we hold that for off? Who?
Simonov, professional hockey player, sometimes sim racer.
Really?
Yeah.
Fancy people.
I just had his Discord name up. Arturus. So,
really?
Yeah, fun
Awesome.
fact for everybody watching.
We got, and as I said, and I think we've talked about it before, and I bring it up because it's so important. I think not just to myself, but as a league, we bring people together from all over the world, all different backgrounds. You're a weird guy who I think half the time lives in a fantasy world. I'm a professional. Red farms. Chief does Chief things. Dunn does Dunn things, and like, you know, these are just the guys. These are just the guys I talk about. I'm a professional. I work in a professional environment. There's different environments. Dunn's a professional too. I just didn't want to say that about him. You're a goofball. You can't deny it. Don't tell me I'm wrong.
By the way, if anyone wants to buy my stand-up EP, it's on Spotify for $5. Help me pay rent. Appreciate it.
As Steadfast says, too many Northerners. That could be what it is. I think Huff is in the same position right now. Kevin Huffman.
Take me home.
One of our drivers. Yeah, I mean, one of our drivers and one of our admins who, it's summertime and he's basically like, you know what? I'm not going to be inside. I'll do the best I can, but I'm not going to be inside. So.
I just built sim rigs. There's a big drill right above my groin.
Do you know that story?
Anyway?
Do you know that story?
No.
Oh.
Did he really?
No, not done. Not done. No.
All I can hear is trust me, I'm a professional.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
No, so in a previous league that we participated in, that will remain nameless, there was a guy, Epic Sim Racer, and Epic Sim Racer was from somewhere in Eastern Europe, which that doesn't matter, I guess. But he got on stream one night. He was streaming, building his sim rig, right? He's putting it together. Like, that's awesome, right? Like, just go for it. But except that during the course of this stream, while he's putting together, he lays like a 2x4 or a 2x6 across his groin, sitting on the floor, and is driving the drill straight down into it between his legs. Like, whoa, what are you doing, dude? Like,
that's a hold of my beer moment.
Yeah, 100%. So, Manu in chat says Blue is about to open his OnlyFans account.
Yeah, which is going to be really terrible, like, punny jokes about how, first of all, Ottens, who we've nicknamed Otter very affectionately, is thriving in the rain in the wet.
I see that. Yep.
So,
but he's not alone. He's not alone. Daniel Pickett and Anthony Anderson and John Gray. I mean, we've got 155s for the top 4 in this race. So it's very tight up front. Otter, of course, hanging out all the way at the top with a 155.842, but Pickett right there with an 872. Anderson and Gray as well, very close, 967 and 987.
Yeah, and last week we got Pickett versus Ottens at Kailami, which was
that's a great battle.
Pretty fun to watch. Yeah, it was a good battle. I love that car that Ottens has too. It's super cool.
It is. Hey, actually, Dunn in the chat. Are you the only one that has made a liquid death livery in iRacing? Have you found others on Trading Paints? And I'm curious. And there we go, John Gray taking over P1 now.
I want to make one. I'm actually going to commission Manu to make one for an ACC car.
Well, here's the thing. I was in a dirt street stock race this morning, and I was right next to a liquid death livery, and I didn't know if it was Dunn's or not. So it was a street stock car. It was not it was not the NASCAR. So I'm wondering if somebody's using one of Dunn's, and I happened to catch him in the race. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I need to commission Manu to make the. I was gonna get some money first. He's an expensive little mother trucker.
But look at his liveries. They're fantastic.
Oh,
right?
I have like 6 of them. I pretty much funded his new apartment.
Well, I will tell you this.
Nuts.
I will tell you this. Dunn is my go-to livery guy for iRacing. I don't really do liveries for ACC. I don't race enough, so I just whatever, I drive the Audi. So anybody who drops an Audi livery into Box 3, it basically becomes mine. I'll drive it whenever I want. That said, for iRacing, Dunn is my guy. So if you're into iRacing and you need liveries, go see Dunn.
I'm 3 liveries away from a brand new car.
Brand new car. That's awesome.
A brand new
As
car.
we watched John Gray just him slide it through that corner. That was unbelievable. Now look at the difference here as what we saw.
Are you talking about the manufacturers?
Well, yeah,
split?
I'm looking at the manufacturers. Look at what we saw in the AM class, and this is very interesting because, in our Pro Silvers and their Pickett moving up, or I'm sorry, Coffin moving up, our top 4 spots now held by Porsche.
3 Porsches and a McLaren.
I'm showing 4 Porsches. John Gray, Remco Ottens, Retro Coffin, and Daniel Pickett.
I'm missing the Coffin because I'm watching the stream, so that's why. There we go. Now it's 4 Porsches.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that will run a little behind. So yeah,
but
and again, we saw in the AM. What I found interesting so far with AM class is that you see the Bentleys, right? Which I sim race, but I'm not a sim racer. I'm not fast. So I drive what I like to drive. I like the Audi. I like the Merc. That's what I drive. My point being this is you see a lot of AM class drivers, I think, more than what we see in Pro and Silver, certainly this season, driving the Bentleys and the Astons and the McLarens, right? Maybe things that are a little easier to get into from what I've been told. Okay, particularly the Bentley, right? It's big, it's stable, easier to drive. The Porsche, I mean, there's a reason in Box 3 we say the Porsche doing Porsche things. And yet these pro class drivers are just jumping with it, and now we got the top 4 in qualifying are all Porsches. Is there something to be said for that? Am I wrong in saying that?
This track, admittedly, is very catered to the Porsche. Porsche doing Porsche things is very funny, but it's a good car. I mean, in the right hands, in any hands really, it's a good car. We also have a bit of a Porsche geek when it comes to setups and things like that, and he's quite a wizard with the with the pig. So
did you see this? Look at what we've got here. Daniel Pickett now taking up pole position by about 0.2 of a second. I'm sorry, 0.02 of a second over John Gray. However,
close, and they're buddies. They're good friends.
Well, so. John Gray takes it right back. I was watching here because the times are coming in. However, Pickett right now so far, and let's bring up the personal best delta. Pickett right now running a little bit ahead of where he was. Now going back to flat. We'll see if he can get that time back before the end of this lap. 7 minutes left, still plenty of time, but these guys are battling back and forth for this.
The other thing too is we're missing one piece of Italian machinery that that is not able to show up today, and I think that's also kind of screwing up our manufacturers split up.
No Ferraris, yeah.
No, I'm talking about the Lamborghini.
Oh, the Lambos. Of Mr.
The dun 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 dun.
The Darth Vader of Box 3. As he creeps on.
He loved that nickname. I was really glad. I thought he was going to be offended. He's like, dude, I'm not that mean. Like on track, you're absolutely mean. So
right.
Yeah, no Crow. There's no Crow show today, so we can't sit here and talk about Crow a bunch, even though we're definitely talking about Crow a bunch.
Well,
he's not
the
even
drivers. I mean, the drivers that are on track would probably appreciate it. He's not driving. We can't commentate or curse him. Right.
I believe, to be totally honest, when I saw the withdrawal thing pop up that Crow wasn't going to be able to race, there was just this huge sigh of relief from everybody in the Discord.
You can hear
that he wasn't going to be racing. Yeah,
your Discord screen. Your Discord screen literally physically sighed in front of you when that was said.
Yeah, they're like they're sitting there and there's no esports legend this week, and everyone was just like, "Oh, thank God."
Ricard in the chat says, "So Molson, is me always swapping cars?" I know. I can't figure out why. And to Manu, yeah, I'm not a fast driver. I'm just a driver. I'm just out here to have fun.
He's talking about the Porsche being since this track is so suited for the Porsche. If there were more straights and things like that, the Porsche probably wouldn't be as good here. but I don't think in the AM race we had a Porsche in the top 3. I think we had one in the top 5, and it was Kev.
Mm-hmm. That was about it.
So, and Zap's actually in an old Porsche. The rest of them are all in the GT3R2. He's in the original, and he loves that thing.
He does. That is his car for sure. I don't see him ever changing. Surprisingly, we see Tobias Gable back out on track today in his Audi. I didn't think we'd see Tobias today with the rain. I kind of thought he was going to stay away and not drive, but good to see him out there.
He put on his rain jacket, his poncho, and got out there. Now, this isn't his Nürburgring. This isn't...
but right now up about a second on his fastest previous lap at a 157.1. So that will drop him right up there into PC. He should be able to gain 2 or 3 positions if he can hold on to this.
And he's running a special livery for this race. His
I
blue,
see the blue Esper
Racing. Yeah. Kuda, I think he's giving me a shout out with his car color. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I know so. He's like, oh, Blue's going to be commentating today? Let me have a blue car.
Right? I love it. Every time he updates his liveries, there's like all 3 of them come through. So again, holding about 8/10, now dropping back to 7. Let's see how much of a launch he gets and losing time coming out of the final corner. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Tobias Gable, there you go, jumping up into P5. I was just a little off. I was watching Wilson Fernandez.
And top 5 for TG, he really wants to kind of push himself a little bit further. We saw him really do well at Kilami, and I think he ran a fantastic race there. So, you know, pit stop and Brian being Brian doing Brian things knocks him back down. But, you know, him and Remco Ottens, I think, were the real surprise as far as that race goes. So let's 100%. See if TG can pull out this one.
And again, I mean, if you look, we've now extended our 155s all the way down to P6, and that includes Tobias Gable, with Anthony Anderson coming up right behind him at a 155.9. So, you know, almost half of our field today in the front is running within a second of each other,
which is going to make for a very interesting T1. We saw a pretty clean AM race. We've seen some clean AM racing. The pro silver split is where I get squeamish sometimes.
But I think you and I talked about this, or I've talked about it with someone else. I can't remember if it were you. It was a couple weeks ago. I think we discussed this. The AM drivers, right? It's the Dunning-Kruger. We did talk about it. It was you and I, right? So these AM drivers come in and they know they don't have the speed. They know they don't have the same time in the seat. I don't want to make it a skills issue and say they don't have the skill. That's not what I'm saying. They don't have the same time in the seat that our pro and silver drivers do. Pro and silver drivers have been doing it longer. They have more practice, etc. So again, it's not a skill thing. It's a length of time thing, okay? So the point being is, the AM drivers come in and go, you know what? I got to take it a little easy into T1 and T2. I'm going to be more cautious. I want to win. I'm going to push, but I'm going to be more cautious. Where you take a pro driver. Tell me someone like Tobias Gable or someone like Darth Crow, is not 100% confident in his ability. Did you leave me, Blue? Are you you're too busy talking to Manu.
No, I'm sitting here. I'm listening to this rant that you definitely had with the voice inside your head, because I don't remember any of this. But
yeah, we talked about this.
I think that
You're lost in all honesty,
I lost you. Yeah, no, dude, man, this
you
is like...
You space cadetted because you were talking to Manu.
100%. I was sitting here and I was thinking about Live at the Peak of Mount Stupid, and I lost it when I read Live at the Peak of Mount Stupid. I started laughing a little too hard, but
I think it's true. I think a pro driver, and again, I don't want to speak specifically of
they push too
TG.
hard. I was also thinking I have 666 hours in this game. Like it's definitely a skill issue sometimes. So
there's a skill issue there. I get it, but my point
you're not
being
supposed
is
to agree with me, but
no, but there is, because I don't know how many hours I've spent in ACC. I don't care, because I also do iRacing and other things. I know I don't have the skill, right? It's not going to be there. I guess what I'm getting at is there's a point where your skill crosses over where you're like, I got this. Whatever. I got this. And so you will throw it harder into T1. You will drive harder.
Yeah.
You will push someone harder. And when that happens, you are going to have more incidents. You're going to have more incidents than you will in the M class. Incidents and accidents, hints and allegations. You don't even know that song, do you?
No, I do. Yep, I do.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody does.
Yep. I agree. I think the guys, the AM and rookie, or the AM drivers mostly, I don't know. I think they're a little bit more courteous with each other. To be totally honest, this isn't a knock on the pro silver guys, but I think the pro silver guys are just like, you know what? F you. I really don't care if I bump into you. If I bump into you, I bump into you. Like we'll settle it in a private Discord message with, you know, hey, why'd you hit me? Oh, I hit you because I hit you. Like, oh, okay, cool, sounds good. But with AM guys, you know, we're a little bit more buddy. So I don't know. I think there's also a courteous factor to that, but I also just want to take digs at the pro and silver guys as much as I can.
Well, my job, because I mean, you're at least a driver. They'll maybe listen to you. I don't drive in the league. I sit here over judgment. I sit here in judgment above all of you. That's
again,
my job.
driver is a very loose term.
It is. I didn't say fast. I just said
it's
driver.
okay to knock them down a peg.
Well, here we go, guys. Our grid is set going into this 45-minute race at the Hungaroring. John Gray and Daniel Pickett will share row 1. Remco Ottens and Retro Coffin, if we can keep those names straight, will share row 2 in P3 and 4 respectively. Tobias Gable gets himself up into P5 and is going to share that row 3 with Anthony Anderson. Artem Kudasov, Wilson Fernandez in row 4 with Matt Comiskey and Armin Petrovic in row 5. Rob Keesar, Zach Brannigan in row 6. Huh?
The keys.
The keys?
The keys. The keys
Rob
are...
Keesar. Zach Brannigan in row 6, and Christoph Arts looks like setting no qualifying time today. Will start all by himself in row 7.
This is his home track. Christoph Arts and Matt Givens. They're both from the country of Hungary. So
very good. Well, maybe Christoph's looking to make a last to first run today. Christoph, very fast driver.
Very fast. We've seen me many a time.
Yeah, we've seen Christoph race last season. I think he was very near, if not the winner of season 2. He was absolutely at the top 3 at the end of the season. But lately, Christoph has been down a little further. Now, I don't know if that's to say. Now, again, I don't think he even qualified today.
I think he's trying to get his safety rating up, so he's going to try to race guys really close and pass them.
Gotcha. Okay, so what I'm saying about Mr. Arts is, again, last season, very, very near the top. And I wonder if this season, because we've seen some struggles, he has been involved in some incidents. Not saying they're his fault, or that they were his fault. I'm just saying we've seen him get hit. We've seen him get knocked around. Seems to be having a bad run of luck lately. And maybe that's why looking to start from the back today. Or, again, he really knows this track and says, you know what? I'm going to last to first this and let's go.
So what you're saying is that he gets knocked down and back up again?
It's possible, yeah. 100% possible.
That was another song reference.
You'll never take him down.
Hey, he's got no doubt.
Oh, one of those days.
If you're gonna whip out Paul Simon,
I might as well. You can come with Chumbawamba, I guess. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't want to come with Chumbawamba. I can tell you that right now.
Let's take a look, folks. Don't forget, we're back next week, July 10th at Zandvoort, for another 30-minute and 45-minute race. AM and newcomer and pro silver splits. That will happen right here. Same bat channel, same bat time. But if you're into endurance racing, in conjunction with Trackalicious and 949, next Saturday, July 9th, 4 p.m. UTC, 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Again, at Zandvoort. Just happened to line up that way. And you're going to want to head over to twitch.tv/Trackalicious to catch all the action for the Zandvoort race next Saturday. However, August 20th, Mount Panorama, you're going to be able to watch that right here at Box3 Motorsports on twitch.tv. And as I said, if you like endurance races like I do, I love them. I love covering them. 12 hours of Barcelona, July 23rd, 10 a.m. UTC, 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Doesn't matter. I will be here getting up at 4:30 in the morning to prep for that race and be ready to go. 12 hours at Barcelona. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier, We have a full grid. 50 teams have signed up for the 12 Hours of Barcelona, and you'll be able to watch it all right here at Box3 Motorsport.
I think I'll actually be able to do a little bit of joining you on that 6 hour in the booth.
Well,
not racing, so.
Well, don't forget. I mean, Trackalicious is handling next week at Zandvoort.
I'm at the 12. I'm in the 12 hour.
Well,
the bar cup.
Listen, you're gonna have to fight with Dunn to get that, because Dunn is my endurance partner. He kept me awake through the 24.
Grid's full, Manu.
Which turned out to be a 21, but still, Dunn was the man with that one. Dunn, he came in at like 3 a.m. or 2. No, actually, I think he was there earlier than that.
I hopped in there with you, and
you did.
And I was in chat.
You were you were in chat, and you were also with your teammates, right? But we hopped in to talk to you guys a couple times. I think Kesar and Anderson you were with.
Kesar, Anderson, Butler.
Yeah. So we jumped in a couple times to talk to you guys, and we'll do that again. I know the teams always jump up into VCs with each other, so we'll be surfing around doing that. But Dunn is the man, the myth, the legend himself, because he brought it in during those early morning hours of the 24, from about 1 a.m. my time until, I don't know, about 3, or until the race crashed, until the server crashed on us, and kept it going. So if you enjoy a good time, if you enjoy a good conversation, you should definitely show up. As I said earlier, endurance races like that for me are an event. It is about more than the race. So we talk to the drivers. We talk to the drivers, we talk to each other while we keep an eye on track. A lot of fun. Remco Otten's just ripping it here in this formation lap, trying to spin those tires up.
I feel bad. We didn't talk about qualifying at all.
How's that?
But these guys, they know what they're doing.
No, we talked about qualifying. I mean, look at we got 4 Porsches leading this race. Tobias Gable's sitting in the middle of, in his Audi, the 5th Porsche of Retro Coffin. So there you go, Manu.
And
I would throw up a post, Manu. I have no doubt there are teams of 2 and even 1 people for that 12 hour that would not mind taking on another driver.
So there are 2 Audis in this race. Are you going to be able to contain yourself, Adam?
Yeah, I'll be fine. Tobias Gable's gonna win this race, so we'll be able to focus on him making passes all the time. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can hear the lubriderm going off right now.
Tobias, a great guy. We'll see how well he does. Again, currently sitting P4.
Yeah, and knocking that Porsche out of the top 5.
Yeah, I see. I'm just seeing that now, where right there at the end was able to knock Retro Coffin back a slot. So still gonna have to hang out amongst the Porsches at the start of this race. 45 minutes is how long we are here for, as the guys are about to head into double file. Now Daniel Pickett, E2, coming in on the outside as we get ready to head down into T1 here at the start of this race when we get green lights. Pickett struggling a little bit this season. Again, one of those cars, and I don't know that it's because it's the pink pig and everybody loves pork, but really struggled with getting hammered up and hamstrung in incidents that have really hampered him. As you said, we saw a great battle between him and Ottens last week, and even there, we saw incidents that slowed him down and ended up dropping him back. So we'll have to see what happens going down into T1 here.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna have to run a clean race for him to really be successful.
And there we go, we're green, and the Porsches are stampeding as Daniel Pickett jumps out ahead on the outside of John Gray. Remco Otten's right there, and Pickett going, we saw it in the AM race, going a little deep, letting John sneak back up. But right behind him, Remco Ottens and Tobias Gable right there running neck and neck into T2.
Duking it out, see if they can avoid contact. They're doing a good job, racing nice and clean.
Doing a great job.
PG recognizing that it's lap 1. He's got time to make up.
Oh, and we got a car spinning in the background. I believe that's Anderson. Ooh. And that hung up a lot of people. I don't think there was contact until...
Oh, there was later.
No, there was, yeah, but what I'm saying is I don't think Anderson got pushed. I think Anderson slid and the pack behind him couldn't get out of the way of them, get out of his way fast enough. So,
and that's such a rough go for Zach too, who qualified, was going to be going okay, and just ends up getting caught up in the muck there.
Mm-hmm. Remco Otten's now playing defense as we look. Tobias Gable and Artem Kudasov coming to blows. Let's go Audi versus Audi. We will take it. Here at Box3 Motorsports, sponsored by Audi.
Now, these are both the new spec Audi, right? No one is in the old spec Audi.
Yeah, no old ones.
So let's see if TG can maybe hold off his manufacturer's teammate and give us a bit of a race. And Retro Coffin's right behind him, almost stiff in blood.
Yeah.
And then behind them is it Kudasov?
Yeah, Artem. So Tobias Gable and Artem Kudasov running together right now. Retro Coffin now coming up on the back end of Kudasov. And right there with him, Fernandez. Wilson Fernandez.
That's what I was thinking of.
So again, another 3-car battle right here.
And can Fernandez
pull ahead? That's
great.
Looking to take it in that Merc down the straight. Ooh, but Coffin really nosing in. Coffin nosing in around the corner, and a little bit of a door bang as Retro Coffin takes it back.
Takes it back for a second.
As Fernandez takes the inside of T2. And Coffin's really going to have to watch, because right there behind him is Christoph Arts. Yeah. As we see the Audi of Artem Kudasov go off into the Toolies just a little bit, still able to maintain that position, though. We've got another battle a little further back. Rob Kiesar and Matt Comiskey. Kiesar, another one of our Porsches on track today.
I love that Martini Motorsport livery that Rob sports. Mm-hmm. It's really nice and clean, nice and slick. But he's gonna have to get to schmoovin', because Comiskey's gonna really put some pressure on him.
Yeah, now Kudasov and Fernandez.
Fernandez is really gunning this race. I think he was a little sour on his qualifying and wanted to pop up.
So I think we might be about. We almost. Retro Coffin now able to pull around Fernandez. So just like that, Coffin taking up a position. We were seeing the battle between Kudasov and Fernandez. Somehow Coffin injects himself into the middle of it. Takes advantage.
Yeah, I think Fernandez is getting a little greedy and maybe left just a little bit of a gap. And
that's what I was wondering, is did Fernandez leave the door open because he was paying so much attention on trying to get around Kudasov, right? So he didn't realize that Coffin was right there ready to pounce. And Coffin looking to the inside, but we also have Christoph Arts now stacking up into this.
And I think, to be honest, Arts got the best line out of the three of them there. So
as Arts takes up on Arts going around Fernandez as Coffin gets around Kudasov, and they trade position, and we've got Tobias Gable off track now. Sliding himself out of T2. He's going to lose 4 spots just like that as these 4 run together. And right there, we got a slide from Christoph Arts now. Again, loss of control. It didn't look like contact, but there we go. Now the Audi of Kudasov off track. And now Retro Coffin making out like a bandit, taking a P4, while Kudasov is going to have to deal with Fernandez through the chicane.
You got to think that Christoph Arts, the local Hungarian, just caught a puddle and took himself out.
Yeah, it was same with TG.
That was a really good battle.
TG was all alone at that moment and slid himself off in T2 as we stick right here with Kudasov and Fernandez. I get to watch Audis and y'all get to watch a battle. So everybody wins. But I will tell you this, if you look up a little further in the standings right now, we are setting up Kyalami 2.0 between Daniel Pickett and Remco Ottens. We will see if these guys continue to keep it close up there, and will jump up as necessary. But right now the battle is here.
coming in with that McLaren. Late to the track, mechanics were having igniter issues, so the
Obviously,
actual engine
huge
wasn't
issues.
igniting.
And there we go, Wilson Fernandez. As Kudasov goes way wide, Fernandez able to scoot around, coming out of the last corner. We head downhill into T1. Fernandez with a very clean pass after Kudasov just swung it out wide. But now, Kudasov going way deep. And, I'm sorry, Fernandez going way deep. Kudasov able to take position back up on him into T2.
And what I thought was interesting, too, is back on the straight. That straight's not very long. You can't really... I mean, you can kind of try to get up to speed, but Christoph Arts was actually trying to break the toe of whoever's behind him there. And I thought that was just really... It was quite interesting. It was TG that was behind him. So trying to make sure that TG doesn't get any advantage, using some high IQ play there. Or he was trying to cut off the inside, one of the two.
Trying to push him. Let's go. We'll see if Tobias is able to bring it up. But as I said, the battle continues right here between Wilson Fernandez and Artem Kudasov. As you watch the back end of that Merc bounce off that curb through the chicane. But it's tightening up front. We're going to keep eyes up there. Pickett and Ottens. Remco Otter Ottens. I have your Faja. Sorry, I can't help myself. I just can't. We're quoting movies and music. We're quoting movies and music today. That has to be one of them. Daniel Pickett continuing to lead. The Faja line is the best, though. That's the one that gets me. Oh, and here we go. Fernandez around the outside on Kudasov. Not going to be able to pull that one off.
And Fernandez is just listing off model numbers of the insides of that Audi.
Yeah, he is just champing at the bit to get around Kudasov right now.
Hi, Huff.
But the thing is, I mean, we got to see how much pace he has. Is 157 for Kudasov, 158 for Fernandez, and Fernandez just went off into the dirt, or the
runoff area.
The runoff, as it might be. And here we go, Pickett and Ottens. Ottens tightening it back up. These guys love to play. Again, it's Kyalami 2.0. Done. That should be an automatic message I should set up through Stream Elements for the broadcast. Like various otter facts that will chirp off every 5 minutes in the chat. And did we get a push?
Pickett,
did I miss a push?
No, Pickett just spun out, caught a wet line, and
caught too much of that curb. And yep, there it went. Ottens a little bit of a dance.
His rubber too wet.
The battle is over, but now Daniel Pickett will contend with Wilson Fernandez. Kudasov and Retro Coffin both able to get by. As now Daniel Pickett will feel what Kudasov has been dealing with for the last 3 laps.
And Fernandez is hungry. And the only thing Fernandez is thinking is Daniel is in the way of Kudasov.
Pretty much at this point, yeah. Like he wants
to get a Kudasov. Keep warmed. We should have just random
Pickett is just
otter fact.
We should random otter fact. I'll type them up and just let him chirp off 100%. Pickett seems like
Kevin
he's struggling right now, though.
Tavares is rooting for Retro Coffin.
Retro Coffin currently sitting in 30. I mean, he's got a podium right now, and our front, John Gray leading out. He's got the fastest lap of the race so far with a 155.4. His last lap was a 155.6. Obviously has pace. Now we'll see what happens as he gets into back markers, pit stop, when the pit window opens, all of that stuff. But John Gray leading now by about 9 to 10 seconds, depending. Although, what is going on here? Because Gray must have had a problem, because all of a sudden Remco Ottens in second was within it went from 10 seconds all the way down to like 4. So Gray obviously with a little trouble there, but Remco Ottens in second, now 7 seconds off the pace. Retro Coffin running in third. Same thing, about that 7 to 6 seconds. As Wilson Fernandez gets around Kudasov.
Finally made his pass.
But Pickett's still there. We missed a pass there as Daniel Pickett got around Kudasov, and now Fernandez takes up position. So Artem losing 2 spots in the last lap.
Yeah, I want to say for Kudasov right now, it's just weathering the storm. He's going to maybe try to get past Fernandez again, but he does have, I believe, Christoph Arts behind him.
Yeah, he's got Arts right there.
That's going to be a battle for him.
And you can see it there in the background of your screen. I mean, this whole mid-pack from Pickett all the way back to Comiskey is just each car within a second of the one in front of them or so. And so these guys are tightening up very quickly. It's only going to take a slight mistake. It's only going to take a closing of the ranks, and we may be in a 5-way battle here very soon.
I agree, and that's exactly why we race. I think Anderson kind of breaks up that pack. He's about 6-7 seconds away from Comiskey, and that's just because of the spin. But you know, and when's the pit window? We've got a pit window in this race as well.
It'll be dead center, so 45 minutes, whatever the middle is. I can never figure it out. Like 22 and a half into.
I went to public school. Don't make me do math.
Yeah, I can't do that kind of math. Mr. Dunn, I may be around for some iRacing if you're up for it. Worst case, we can sit around and shoot bull.
And Christoph Arts is going to try to make a run on the inside. Go back! No!
And we had to push. I had to jump in. Tobias Gable and Comiskey were trading as well. No. Let's back that up. Let's go back, all the way back. We're going to follow Christoph Arts up here.
And Christoph sends it up the middle, or up the inside. I shouldn't say up the middle.
So Christoph Arts chasing down Kudasov right here.
Nice run, and then all of a sudden just catches that back tire.
Well, right there, yeah, but hold on. Kudasov turned into him.
I think he's turning into the corner. That's where it's bad.
Yeah, Kudasov turns in, and then Comiskey and Gable get hung up in it. Gable showing damage on the front of that Audi now. But Rob Kesar up into P10 at this point. Huff in the chat says stewards. Yeah, they'll be out in force for this race, sir.
Yeah, I believe we'll see some contact reports for sure.
Now again,
Rossi just worked himself.
Hey, we always have to put that disclaimer out there. On stream, we are not stewards. What we see is what we see, and the stewards will make the final determination. Turn in your reports if you are a driver. However, look to me like Kudasov turned in. Am I wrong there?
I think maybe a little bit to try to cut off the inside, but I think he was honestly just trying to turn into the corner. But to be honest,
but did he hold his line? Did he hold his line?
Yeah, no. That's the thing. You got to give him the. You always have to leave it a space, as Fernando Alonso once said. So you got to be a little bit more spatially aware than he was.
Are you eating one of your abominations?
No, I'm not eating one of my abominations.
Okay. Sounded like your mouth was full, and I thought maybe you were making an abomination.
No.
I'm going to get a McDonald's hamburger, and I'm going to get a Wendy's chicken burger, and then I'm going to get 2 tacos from Taco Bell, and then I'm going to smash them all together, and I'm going to eat it in my face.
I should send you pictures.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
No,
I don't need that image.
When was the last time I still have not ordered a grilled cheese from Melt. I need to do that.
Weren't you supposed to? Didn't you get in trouble for not doing that before? Matt Comiskey now taking up P9 after all of the trouble further back, but Daniel Pickett, now Wilson Fernandez. Pickett getting himself back up into P4 after spinning in front of Remco Ottens, making that critical mistake that dropped him out of P2. But now Fernandez looking to close the gap. Fernandez has been just attacking all race so far.
He's been a little aggressive.
Very aggressive. I don't think we've seen him make any incident or create any incidents in that aggressiveness, though.
I think he's like you said in the AM race, just pulling the mental game, trying to force guys into errors.
Mm-hmm. John Gray setting a new fastest lap at 1:55.1. That's right down with what we saw during qualifying, and now Remco Ottens still 7.5 seconds off that pace. Matt Comiskey. Oh, and Matt Comiskey not having a good race right now into the wall. That car does not look healthy as both Kesar and Anderson are able to get around. I don't believe that pit window is going to be open yet. So does Comiskey try and hold on and not go into the pits? That's a ton of damage. But if he goes in now, he's still going to have to clear that mandatory pit stop during the window.
And it won't count unless he fuels up, right? Oh, well, no, we're not in the window yet.
Yeah, it's got to be in that window. So far, Pickett here with this doing well. Anderson's still at bay, 1.3, 1.5 seconds off that pace. I hate that chicane in the Audi. Check in with John Gray up front. The Porsches continue to dominate as John Gray, Remco Ottens, Retro Coffin, and Daniel Pickett hold our top 4 spots right now. All Porsches. Wilson Fernandez moving his way up in the Merc, chasing down Pickett right now and getting very close.
I had to transfer from being inside to outside because people were coming inside.
Yeah, but you're also away from the Wi-Fi.
Oh, do I sound terrible now?
Well, no, you're okay. You'll be fine.
I'll be okay.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Fernandez likes making moves on Pickle, apparently, is what Huff says.
Well, Pickle decided to head into the pits and avoid all that trouble right there. So very curious because I'm not sure. Well, yeah, 27.5 is where, yeah, okay. 27.5 down to like 17.5 is where the pit window should be open. So yeah, Pickle should be good to head into the pits. Pickle, Gable, Kudasov, and Anderson all jumping in at first opportunity. Rob Kesar able to post up into P6. Molson, what did you think of the Oliver print sweatshirt? You know what, Dunn? I never ordered it, but if you wait till after the race, I'll show you the one I'm wearing right now. And you want Box 3 merch? It's easy, buddy.
Funny enough, I also don't have any Box 3 merch.
What is wrong with you?
I was the one that started the store.
Yeah,
so,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, what is wrong? Like, I just went in and built my own.
I have some, I got a buddy helping with some new designs that I'm going to run by you guys. So if you'd like to go check out what we have, Teespring, the link is right there. So
actually, one of the things I want to work on and I have not yet is I have a local shop here where I live who does embroidery and things like that. So I'm going to see what it's going to take to get embroidered baseball jersey.
A Box 3 embroidered baseball jersey?
Oh, yeah.
For the admin team?
Possibly.
To show off that they're a Discord admin?
Why are you waiting for me to get us a Liquid Death sponsorship? I thought that was your job. As we jump back here, Zap and Tobias Gable are going to battle now. Or is Zap just going to let Tobias go?
He may just let TG go, but I think he's really nursing that damage that he got earlier on in the race.
Yeah, probably holding on.
Holding on for a hero.
So Remco Ottens and Wilson Fernandez now into the pits as well. Christoph Arts taking up P3. Retro Coffin all the way up into P2 now. However, John Gray, Retro, and Christoph Arts, none of which have cleared pits. Rob Kesar still out of the pits. Matt Comiskey, Zap Brannigan. So Tobias Gable out of the pits and on the back end of Zap Brannigan. 5.3 seconds on Tobias. He hit that pit stop dead nuts when he dropped in. 5.3 is about the best we've seen for these fuel stops. Comiskey dropping back as Zap and Gable get by now. Zap holding his own, though, against Tobias. Tobias, the faster qualifier, to be sure. We'll see how wide Zap can make that Porsche. And now into the grass. So Tobias pushing hard to see what he can do to get around Zap, but Zap's thus far not allowing that door to open.
Making TG absolutely work for it right now. I think that's the goal, is to just get him to
TG looking to blow up the inside, and there it is right there. Tobias Gable able to sneak around Zap Brannigan and then cut off the corner headed up the hill.
Not exactly where I would have made my move, but it worked
Yeah,
out for
but
TG.
great clean move by TG. He really did a good job there. Keeping that clean, no incident. John Gray and Retro Coffin now into the pits. So as this, other than Christoph Art, that'll leave Christoph Arts and Rob Kesar and Zap Brannigan yet to make pit stops. Oh, as somebody goes skipping off into the dirt, Tobias Gable getting around a back marker right there.
I think that's Steven.
Is that Steven? Yeah, that is Steven. A little bit of contact there.
Just had a bad mechanical issues down to
yes and no.
Not an awesome track.
No,
so.
As Dunn said, that's a back marker giving up too much space. It really is. Again,
weaving off there. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, as a back marker, yes, you got to let people by, right? However, you should never go off track. That was a highly dangerous move because the back end of the Stevens car was bouncing all over the place. It took one wrong hit for him to spin off and hit TG as he went around him, right? So, no, you should never leave the track. TG swinging the back end of that Audi around. That is the second time, 2 laps in a row, we have watched him now go into the grass right there, deep into T1, and then catch grass between T1 and 2. Christoph Arts picks up P1. Action. Yeah, a little bit. Christoph Arts taking up P1, yet to make a pit stop. Now, what will get interesting is John Gray, our current race leader by all accounts, after the pit stops are clear, 13.5 seconds in the pits. Remco Otten's only 7.4. Retro Coffin 6.4. As Comiskey and Zap clear their pit stop. Zap in the pits for a very long time at this point, still sitting there. But now Rob Kesar is going to have to deal with Daniel Pickett. I lost you, dude. I think the Wi-Fi's given up on you, buddy.
Now?
I'm sorry, what?
How about now?
Little better. Rob Kesar now heads into the pits to make his stop, giving Daniel Pickett some clear air. He will move up into P5. Comiskey now finally heading out of the pits. 33 seconds on the stop. Zap Brannigan still not moving. So either massive damage or Zap has decided to not come back out. But no, it looks like he's moving now. So Zap Brannigan, 69.3 seconds stopped in the pits. But now Christoph Arts continuing to lead this race. He's going to run out of time for his pit stop. We saw it during the AM class race. Drivers got disqualified for not hitting that pit window. We will see if Arts is able to get in there in time. While we wait for that and our drivers are spread out, however, let's take a look at that position delta. Christoph Arts right now 12 spots up easily. Our best driver, or best performance from a driver so far today, but again, has not yet taking that pit stop, and we'll see if he gets in there in time. John Gray down a space so far. Remco Ottens and Coffin both holding even, but if Arts goes in, that should jump up for 1 each. Rob Kesar and Wilson Fernandez, though, both up 2 thus far during today's race. And there, Christoph Arts heading into the pits now as he looks to make that stop. 12 laps deep as we get ready for the last 20 minutes of racing here at the Hungaroring. I want to thank everybody again for joining us here at Box 3 Motorsports today. Christoph Artz still in the pits. Let's see where he gets out. Just now settling in for his stop. It'll be curious to see how long he's there, if he has any damage. And he is already on the move again. A very quick pit stop for Artz, but still dropping him back so far to P6. As he comes out of the pits, going to fall right in there to P6 ahead of Tobias Gable by about 8 seconds. So John Gray takes over again as our race leader, with Remco Ottens, Retro Coffin, Daniel Pickett, and Wilson Fernandez making up your top 5 as we head into the last 18 minutes of today's race. So all of our drivers, looks like Anthony Anderson again with an issue. Big red R next to his name. That's not good. 52 seconds in the pits for him. Christoph Artz, by all accounts, had a good pit stop, only 5.9 seconds. Daniel Pickett, the fastest in today's race at 5.1. Again, today's race only being a fuel-only stop. We check in with Remco Ottens. About a 4-second gap for Ottens right now, but still having a great race. P2 cannot complain about that. And with our pit stops done, let's take a look again at the position deltas. Really a pretty even race for everyone other than Christoph Artz, even with dropping back to P6 after that stop. Up 7 positions today. 3 for Fernandez, 3 for Kisar. Those are your hard drivers today, ladies and gentlemen. Pushed it throughout the course of this race and to stay out of trouble and to get ahead. Speaking Kisar now under pressure from Artem Kudasov. I gotta make it a timer done. It has to be one. Is Otter the official animal of Box 3? Is that the official, like, is that our official, you know, league animal? Artem Kusov now, instead of being the one being chased down, gets to apply the pressure to Rob Kisar. Keep an eye a little further up too, as Daniel Pickett and Wilson Fernandez appear to be coming together. Fernandez again showing his aggressiveness today. This is not the first time Pickett has been in this position. Two battles coming together as we get into the last 15 minutes of this race. Daniel Pickett, Wilson Fernandez, and Rob Kisar and Artem Kudasov. As Blue and I talked about earlier, Fernandez has just been so aggressive during today's race, but not in a bad way at all. He very clean, has kept it straight, but wicked aggressive on anybody he gets behind, really pushing to get as far up into the ranks as possible. Currently sitting P5. Daniel Pickett looking to hold on to 4th place right now. So we go back and take a check on Kisar and Kudasov coming down into T1. Kudasov with the inside line. Is it going to be enough? And Kisar going wide, ends up dropping it, and there you saw it right through T1. You know, previous Hungaroring races, same thing. We've seen it. T1 seems to be a really good passing spot if you can ensure you don't break too deep through that corner coming off that very short straight. So Artem Kudasov taking up P8 over Rob Kesar as we check in again with Pickett and Fernandez. The spray off the back of Pickett's car just blinding Fernandez at this point. Not easy to see through all that. Pickett again doing very well during today's race. Holding his own. One slide we saw him get himself into, but luckily no incidents. Kept things very clean. John Gray, Remco Ottens, and Retro Coffin. The only ones in front of him at this point. Gray leading over Ottens by about 2.8 to 3 seconds. Otter fun fact, along the Pacific coast, sea otters help control the sea urchin population. Fewer sea urchins in turn help prevent kelp forests from being overgrazed. Do I need to start doing voiceovers for you, Dunn? Tobias Gable and Zach Brannigan showing contact. Both drivers back out on track, and Tobias Gable sliding right there. And Remco Ottens is into first. What happened here? Let's back it up. 30 seconds back. Let's see what happened. Gray obviously struggling. There's a huge gap there. 2.7 seconds at the time. Gray spinning himself, coming downhill. And Remco Ottens able to step into first. Right there with a 2.5 second gap. Now, Gray has been the fastest driver today, but let me tell you, these guys have not been that far apart. Now, we can't look at their last lap because Gray's was over 2 minutes due to the spin. However, John Gray's fastest lap today, 155.007. Remco Ottens, 155.107. So 1/10 of a second separating these drivers. Otten's last lap, a 155.3. So he's maintaining pace. Definitely got the pace to hold Gray at bay. He might not have been closing the gap, but it wasn't getting any wider either. And with 2.5 seconds between them and only 10.5 minutes left to go, there's plenty of chances for Ottens to just drive a steady race and hold on to P1 today. You're not wrong, Steadfast. He does. And you see the wet just playing with this Porsche. We've seen this all day. The back end's loose in all the cars, not just the Porsche, but we're seeing it here with Ottens where there's just that little shimmy out of every corner that you know, if you're driving that car and you feel it, you just lost some speed. Put the comparison up right there. Remco Ottens holding purple in sector 1 on last lap. We have to jump back, though. That gap's there, but Daniel Pickett and Wilson Fernandez are at it, and Pickett going wide. Coming out of the last corner is going to open the door for Fernandez. Had a feeling we'd have to catch that pass at some point. We just got there. So Fernandez takes up P4 over the pink pig Porsche of Daniel Pickett. But there's been great pace here. You know, as we said earlier, Fernandez has been wicked aggressive. Finally able to make the pass. Pickett makes the mistake going out wide. But the pace has been very close between these two, to the point of, if we look again, like we talked about with Ottens and Gray, Fernandez's fastest lap today, 155.8. Daniel Pickett, 155.9. These guys are not that far apart in regards to pace. Even the last lap, 56.4, 56.7. Fernandez actually the slower driver, even with getting around there in that final corner. Pickett still had him beat on time. There you have it. I mean, again, 2/10 off in the first sector for Pickett. However, or I'm sorry, for Fernandez. Pickett a little slower in the next two sectors, so we'll see if that holds. The gap now starting to open up, about a 1 second between them. Ottens now the gap opening to 4 seconds over John Gray. As we said, let's take a look at that position delta. Ottens gaining 2 to take up that P1 spot. John Gray losing a position. Retro Coffin up 1. Wilson Fernandez up 4 spots today into P4. A great run from him. And there you see the slide from Pickett. Pickett losing 3 positions. Had a great qualifying session. Had a spin earlier, dropping him down, but has made gains since then. Fernandez taking the first spot back from him in quite a while. Christoph Arts, 7 gains today on the day. Great driving from him. Started near the back. G. Steven notwithstanding, because he joined the race 2 laps late, but Christoph having an excellent drive, even with the few little incidents we've seen with him. Absolutely fantastic driving, as we're used to from Christoph Arts. John Gray overall having a decent race today. Lost 1 spot to Remco Ottens. And we have trouble here. Daniel Pickett spun. Let's go back and take a look and see if we can catch what happened. Did he just stop? Daniel Pickett now just stopped in the track and still not moving. We are back to live. Obviously some sort of hardware issue for Pickett. He's unable to move at this point, but he's about to lose position to Tobias Gable right there. Artem Kusov will be next, and he is gone. We lost Pickett.
Can you hear me, Molson?
I can hear you. Yeah, who's this?
I was having hardware issues myself, but reports from the Porsche garage is total engine failure, as far as that.
What does that?
Porsche,
what does that
Daniel
mean?
Pickett.
What does that mean?
Total engine failure. Absolutely nothing was happening. They don't know. They couldn't determine it based off the software. They had to bring the car back in, and that's.
So what you're saying is that his wheel and pedal set died, whatever he drives on.
The engine inside that car totally died. Were you reading any of my messages that I was putting in the? Oh man, dude, I had some great ones in there.
Well, no, I saw in the chat. I did see your message in the chat, and you still sound like hell. I don't know why you're not near the Wi-Fi talking to me.
Oh my God, in heaven, Lord above.
You know what happens? Do you ever watch a newscast and they're talking to somebody on the scene, and their stuff starts to cut out? Right, their stuff starts to cut out. The cameraman just goes, "I'm not dealing with this," and he shuts the camera off. And then the person in the studio is like, "We'll try and get him back." We're about to try and get you back.
Yeah, it's because I'm in the pit lane.
I don't know that you're in the pit lane.
I'm not in the pit lane.
I know you're not. Daniel Pickett is now back on track. He has got himself back in there in the pits, however. So Remco Ottens continues to lead this race. That's a shame. Pickett having a great race today. Whether PC or connection issues or wheel issues, that is absolutely a shame. As things calm down here. Espen Coolin, welcome in. Thank you for joining us today here at Box3 Motorsports. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank everybody for being here. You guys are fantastic. Before we get to the end of this race, just about 3 minutes left to go. Don't forget, we are back next week at Zandvoort, July 10th, Sunday, 6 p.m. UTC, 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Don't forget, because I thought it was at 3 p.m. and I was wrong. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time if you want to come back and watch at Zandvoort next week. Also, this schedule is wrong. Ignore it, but our first season of MX5 Cup racing in iRacing at Box3 Motorsports continues on July 16th. It won't be at Okayama. I can't tell you where it is because I didn't pay attention to where I was practicing. It's at Charlotte. It's at Charlotte in 2 weeks. We take off for the endurance next week. Also, this season just ended, but I do want to bring it up anyway because season 4 is coming. We have a GT4 series starting this week on Xbox. If you're a console racer, please come join us. As I said, this calendar's out of date, but a new schedule will be up very, very soon. So be sure and join us if you're a console racer in ACC. Those guys put on a fantastic season. That's a long one. It was like 12 weeks. It's a long season. Drivers came out, had a blast, and very clean racing, everything. So absolutely come out if you're up for it. And if you enjoy endurance racing, 6-hour endurance series in conjunction with 949 and Trackalicious Sim Racing, July 9th, next Saturday, 4 p.m. UTC, 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time at Zandvoort. Go to twitch.tv/Trackalicious to catch all the action right there. And then you're going to come back here on August 20th at Box3 Motorsports for Mount Panorama. I will be here to cover all of that endurance series for you at Bathurst. And if you like endurance racing, you've heard me say it earlier today, July 23rd, 10 a.m. UTC, 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the 12 hours of Barcelona kicks off here at Box3 Motorsports. And the most impressive part of this for me is the fact that we have a full grid. 50 teams will be joining. We're talking 100 to 150 drivers will be on track for this entire 12 hours. I encourage each and every one of you to come join us for that. It is going to be an absolute blast. As Remco Ottens, I don't know if anybody saw that, but we didn't see it because we were off, but Remco Ottens sets today's fastest lap, faster than anybody in qualifying, I believe. Our first lap below 155 at a 154.8, and has now opened the gap up back to John Gray to 6.6 seconds. So Ottens just crushing it today. Here at the Hungaroring, doing a fantastic job. John Gray sliding, giving up the opportunity for Ottens to get up into P1, and it looks like now it is his race to lose with 25 seconds left to go. This should be his last lap as we'll watch him come across the start-finish line. Mr. Remco Otten taking that Porsche to victory today. As we watch him come across, otter fun fact, whether you see an otter on land or at sea, be sure to maintain a safe distance of at least 5 kayak lengths or 60 feet from the otters. And right there is why, as Remco takes home a victory at the Hungaroring today. John Gray bringing it up in the Porsche right behind him for P2 as Retro Coffin swings the corner. And there is your podium. Remco Ottens, John Gray, Retro Coffin. It is a trio of Porsches for today's race at the Hungaroring in our Pro and Silver class splits. Wilson Fernandez taking up P4. Christoph Arts coming across in the grass, ending up in P5. Tobias Gable, after some trouble, Currently sitting P6 and looks like he's going to hold on to it. That's a back marker there behind him. I'm sorry, Artem Kusov, or Kudasov, currently 2.8 seconds back. So Tobias Gable will be your P6 today. Artem Kudasov finishing in P7. Rob Kesar looking to finish out, but Anthony Anderson already across the line in P9, and Armand Petrovic finishes P10. So Rob Kesar will come across at P8. That is your top 10 locked in for today. Matt Comiskey, P11. Zach Brannigan, P12. Daniel Pickett going to finish 13 after a disconnect and a game crash. Unfortunate. Pickett was having a great race today. And G. Steven, a late joiner, finishing up P14. We did have some drops during the course of today's race. Of course, those folks are not listed. Again, another fantastic race here at Box 3 Motorsports. As we said, back next Sunday, we're going to Zandvoort. And don't forget, twitch.tv/Trackalicious. You like endurance racing, 6 hours next Saturday. And then back in August for Panorama. And 3 weeks. It's only 3 weeks away. 12 hours of Barcelona. It's going to be fantastic. Completely full. I cannot wait. Endurance events are my absolute favorite to cover for the league. The week-to-week races, sometimes things get weird, boring, whatever. It happens. But I will tell you right now, endurance races are a blast the entire time. So I want to thank everybody for joining me today here on stream. I want to thank you for joining this league to watch us. And again, I will be back next week for Racing at Zandvoort to continue Season 3 of PC ACC Racing at Box 3 Motorsports. You guys have yourselves an absolute great weekend. Happy 4th of July to the Americans. Happy Canada Day to the Canadians. And happy weekend to everyone else, wherever you might be. My name is Adam Thursby. Thank you for joining me. I will see you guys soon.